A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A special officer has been shot during a routine patrol. His assailants have escaped into the city. There's no lead to their whereabouts. Your job, find them.
It was Saturday, May 21st. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from the scene, and it was 10:56 p.m. when we got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Treatment room.
That's you, Doctor?
No, ma'am. Police officers. Doctor said we could ask you some questions.
About the robbery?
Yes, ma'am. It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Hello, Miss Montgomery.
You heard anything about Keith? Is he all right?
Well, the doctor's still with him.
Is he going to be all right?
We better talk to the doctor about that, I think.
He tried to stop the men from robbing us. Tried to throw them out of the store.
Yes, ma'am. Now, can you tell us what happened?
Well, I guess so. If the doctor said I could.
Well, anytime you don't feel like going on, just tell us, please.
All right.
What time did the man come into the store?
About 9:30, right around in there.
Yeah.
Keith and me were sitting in the back room playing cribbage. We usually play a couple of games before we close up, especially when business is kind of slow.
Uh-huh.
These two men came in. Keith went out to wait on them.
Did you go with him?
No, wasn't any reason to. Just two customers. No reason for me to go out. Looked like they came in together.
You could see him from where you were, huh?
Oh, yes. We had the card table set up right in the doorway of the back room.
All right, ma'am. Would you like to go on?
Well, Keith went out and asked them what they wanted.
Yeah.
One of them said he wanted a bottle of vodka. Keith asked him what kind, and the man said it didn't make any difference. Said he wanted 100 proof, though.
Uh-huh.
Keith got the bottle off the shelf and came back. Told the man how much the bottle was, and that's when the other man pulled out the knife.
They say the second man drew the knife. Huh?
That's right. Short fella. Had this kind of knife with a spring blade where you push a button and the blade snaps out. You know how?
Yes, ma'am.
Did the men know you were in the back room?
He must have. All he had to do was look through the door, and they'd have seen me. I wasn't trying to hide.
All right. Feel like going on?
Yes. The doctor gave me some kind of pill. It makes me a little numb, but I feel all right.
All right. You please go ahead. Now, what happened after they pulled this knife?
Well, the short one told Keith to give him the money. Said it was a hold-up.
Could you remember his exact words?
Oh, I don't know. Seems he said, "All right, old man, this is a stick-up. Put all the money in the register in a paper bag and don't cause any trouble." That's as near as I can remember. That's what he said.
All right. What happened then?
Well, Keith told him to get out of the store. Said the two of them were too young to get mixed up in that kind of foolishness. Told him to get right out.
Yeah.
Little fella, the short one with the knife, grabbed Keith and told him they weren't playing games, but if he knew what was good for him, he'd do like he was told. Had the knife right at his chest, but he was going to cut Keith.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I came out of the back room when I thought they were going to hurt Keith.
All right. You go on, please.
Yes. I want to get this over and tell you what you need to know so you can catch the fellas.
All right, ma'am. What happened when you came into the store?
Well, I tried to get the men out of the place, told them that if they knew what was good for them, they'd leave right then.
Uh-huh.
Might as well have been talking to a wall. They didn't pay any attention to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I tried to get to the phone. I wanted to call the police.
What was your husband doing at this time?
Standing there trying to keep from moving into the knife. This short little fellow had it pressed right against his chest. Had the point right here. Keith made any kind of a move, he'd have been stabbed.
I see.
When they saw me go to the phone, the tall one grabbed me and hit me with his fist closed. Hit me about as hard as he could. As soon as he did that, Keith seemed to go crazy. Wrenched himself away from the one with the knife and jumped on the tall man and fought him as hard as he could.
Yeah.
Terrible the way it happened.
Yes, ma'am.
The tall man hit Keith along the neck with the edge of his hand and knocked my husband down. Then the little fellow jumped on him, held his knife right at his throat and told him to take the money and put it in a bag, that he didn't want any more trouble or he'd kill us both. All the time he had the knife right here at Keith's throat.
Yes, ma'am. Your husband did what they said?
That's right. He opened the register and gave him the money, put it in a paper bag. I thought they'd leave after that, but they didn't. Only made them madder.
Why was that, you know?
It wasn't enough money, only about $30 or $35. They said we had more in the back room, and they wanted that, too. Said for us to get it or they'd kill us.
Well, did you get it for them?
Yes. I went back and took it out from where we hid it, handed it right over.
Mm-hmm.
What'd the doctor say about Keith? He must have said something.
Frank, would you check with Dr. Sebastian, see what's going on in there?
Yeah, well.
Would you go on, please?
After they got the other money, the two men left the store. Put the cash in the paper bag and walked out. Said for me to stay still for 5 minutes or they'd come back and kill Keith and me.
Mm-hmm. When did the special officer come into the store?
We didn't.
Ma'am?
He drove up when we were arguing with the men on the sidewalk, and after they left the store, Keith got up and ran after them, tried to hold him.
Well, did the officer know what was going on?
No, not at first. He thought it was just an argument. When he walked up, Keith tried to tell him that the store was being robbed, but the tall robber said it was just a personal fight. Said it didn't concern anybody else but Keith and him.
Were you on the sidewalk at the time?
Yes, right beside Keith.
I see.
Robert said that Keith was just an old crackpot trying to cause trouble, that the officer should forget about it.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't sound very good to him, because he said it'd be better if Keith and the men talked to a policeman. That's when the tall hold-up man grabbed the gun and shot.
At the officer?
Yes. He grabbed the gun out of his holster and shot him in the stomach.
What happened then?
The smaller of the two stabbed Keith a couple of times, and both of them ran down the street.
Did you see where they went?
Yes. They got into a car that was parked about a half a block away, jumped into the car and left.
All right, Miss Montgomery, just a couple more questions now. Did either of the two men use a name at any time?
What do you mean?
Well, when they were talking to each other, did they use a name of any kind? Do you remember?
Yes. When they shot the officer, the big one, he did the shooting. He said, "Come on, Hank. Let's get out of here." Like that, he said it.
I see. Now, was there anything outstanding about the two men that you can remember? Anything that would make them easier for us to identify?
Oh, I can't think of anything right off. Just that one was tall and the other one was short. That's all I can think of.
About how tall, do you remember?
The big one?
Yes.
Oh, over 6 feet. I'd say he was about 6'3", maybe even more.
Mm-hmm. Did he have any special marks or scars that you can recall?
No, nothing like that.
Now, how about the short one? Anything to make it easier for us to identify him?
Just his fingernails.
How do you mean?
They looked like he'd never cleaned them. Real long and dirty. I remember that.
Was there anything else?
No.
Did either of them speak with any kind of an accent, would you remember?
No. Sounded just like anybody else. Nothing special about him.
I see.
Joe?
Yeah, Frank?
See you a minute.
Yeah.
Did you find out about Keith? Did you talk to the doctor?
He'll be right in to see you, Miss
Is
Montgomery.
Keith going to be all right? Why don't you tell me what's happened?
Try to take it easy, ma'am. The doctor will be right in.
All right, but time to hurry, please, please.
Yes, we'll do that. Did you call county?
Yeah, they're operating on Holman.
How's he doing?
Well, as soon as they get the bullet out, he should make it. Wound's not serious.
What about Keith Montgomery?
He just died. Knife wound.
The story we'd gotten from Irene Montgomery was pretty much the same as Special Officer Kenneth Holman had given us. Immediately after the robbery, a local and an APB had gone out on the suspects. In canvassing the neighborhood, the investigating officers had found two eyewitnesses to the shooting stabbing. A man and a woman had been parked in an automobile directly across the street from the Montgomery store. They'd been able to give us a description of the car that the suspects had driven away from the scene, along with the last three numbers on the license plate. While Frank and I had been talking to Mrs. Montgomery, Officers Benson and Herman from Robbery Detail had been going through the Department of Motor Vehicle Records looking for the owner's name. Information on the method of operation used in the crime was sent to the stats office, and the run was started. The moniker file at R&I was checked for a suspect with the nickname Hank, who matched the description of the smaller thief. The two eyewitnesses were brought into the city hall to go through the mug books for a possible identification. While Frank went to the office to check with Benson and Herman, I worked with the witnesses.
No. No, this page.
How about here?
No, I don't see me here either.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. This fellow here, see?
This one?
Yeah, it's not the hold-up man, but he's got the same kind of ears. Close to his head like... Yeah, same kind of ears.
You're sure it's not the man, though?
Just got ears like him.
All right, Mr. Steele, would you go on, please, here?
Mm-hmm. I remember those ears. I used to go to school with a kid that had ears like that, junior high school.
Yes, sir.
He's a mean kid. I'll never forget him. He's real mean. I guess I thought of him for at least 15 years. Never forget him, though. Mean.
Yes, sir.
He waited for me after school once. I had a big fight. I don't even know what it was about. Big fight. He really beat me up.
Yes, sir.
Sure like to meet him now. It'll be a different story.
Yes, sir. Now, how about right here? Do you see either of the suspects on these pages?
No. No picture in this book. You got another one?
Yeah, I get it. All right.
Say, how many more got of these things, anyhow?
Quite a few. You can see them right here on the shelf.
You want me to go through all of them?
Well, we'd like to have you check the pictures, yes, sir.
It's going to take a while.
You and your wife are the only two people who can give us an identification.
Well, how about the woman who was held up? What's her name, Mrs. Holman?
No, Montgomery. Holman was the officer who was shot.
Yeah. What about Mrs. Montgomery? Can't she tell you about the robbers?
She's under the care of her doctor. Her husband died, you know.
What, from being stabbed?
Yes, sir, that's right.
That's too bad. We didn't know what it was all about, you know.
Yes, sir.
Me and Harriet are just sitting there. All of a sudden, there's this fight and a shot. We didn't know what the frakes was.
Yes, sir. I wonder if we can go on with the books here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how about right here?
No, not here.
All right.
Say, he's mean. What'd he do?
Robbery.
Yeah, you can tell. Look at the face. You can always tell.
Yes, sir.
No, I don't see him here. Perry.
Sir?
Perry Nicholson. That's the guy's name. One with the close ears. I remember it now. Hadn't thought it. 15 years. Perry Nicholson.
Bully. Yes, sir.
Sure like to meet old Perry now. It'd be a different story if he wanted to fight now. Oh, different story.
Yes, sir.
Joe.
Yeah.
The hold-up car.
Yeah.
I just found it abandoned.
Two officers in the radio unit had found the car in a parking lot at the corner of Rosemont Avenue and Waterloo. When the vehicle was discovered and the similarity to the description that had been broadcast was noticed, the car was put under surveillance and our office had been notified. Frank and I left the city hall and drove out to the parking lot immediately. The car was placed under surveillance again, and we checked it through DMV. We found the car was owned by an Edwin Vargas, 1879 Moss Street out in Burbank. We checked the name through R&I, but we found that he had no criminal record in our file. We drove out to see Vargas. While Frank covered the rear of the place, I rang the bell of the house and waited.
Yeah?
Like to see Mr. Vargas?
Well, he's not in right now. Anything I can do?
You know where he is?
No, I imagine he got held up downtown, probably working late.
Where should we are if I wait for him?
I'm not sure. You mind telling me who you are?
Sorry. Police officer. My name's Friday.
What the cops want Ed for?
Might be better if we talk to him.
You alone?
Anybody else in the house, ma'am?
No.
Your husband owned a 1953 dark blue Ford sedan?
Yes?
You driving it tonight, is he?
Well, sure. He took it to work with him this morning.
All right. Might be better if I waited inside, huh?
All right, come on in. I don't know what this is all about, but you can bet it's some kind of mistake. Ed's never had no trouble with the cops. Never. None.
Mm-hmm. Where's that door lead over here?
Bedroom.
All right, if I take a look?
Well, go ahead. You ain't going to find anything.
What's that over there, the bathroom?
Yeah?
All right. Just a one bedroom?
No need for any more. Me and Ed don't have any children.
Kitchen this way?
Yeah. Say, if you're looking for something, maybe if you'll tell me what it is, I can help you.
You just want to check the house, ma'am. Is this all there is to the house?
I told you we don't need any more room.
Let me see. Just unlocking your back door, ma'am. My partner's out there. All right, Frank.
Is he here?
No,
Who
he's
is
not.
this, another cop?
This is my partner, Frank Smith, Miss Vargas.
Hello.
Seems to me you should be able to tell me what this is all about, Mr. Friday.
Can you give us a description of your husband?
Why?
It might help us to get him out of trouble, maybe.
He's in no trouble. You got something on your back and you're trying to dump it on Ed, and it isn't going to work.
You want to give us a description?
What do you want to know?
How tall is your husband?
6'3",
How old?
32.
What color is his hair?
Kind of sandy. Look, what is this, a third degree? What are you trying to prove with all these
We
questions?
just want to get at the truth, ma'am.
It's a kind of hard way to do it, if you ask me.
Well, I'm sorry for causing you any trouble.
You are.
Where does your husband work?
He's a salesman.
Who for, ma'am?
Insurance company downtown.
Usually work this late?
No, I told you that.
But you think he's at work tonight?
Yes?
Well, you wouldn't mind if we called him, would you?
I'm not going to have you causing him any
Well,
embarrassment.
don't worry about it, Miss Vargas. Would you like to give us the number?
It's in the phone book. Look under emergency numbers.
We'll make the call, Frank.
Yeah.
Look, what do you think he's done?
Police business, ma'am.
I'm his wife. I got a right to know.
It'll be better if we talk to him, I think.
That's what you say.
Your husband ever been in trouble with the police before?
Not that I know of.
How long you lived here?
You mean in California?
That's right.
I was born here.
How about your husband?
He's been here a couple of years.
Where's he from?
New York State.
Where in New York State?
A little place right outside of Utica.
You ever been in trouble back there, would you know?
Well, if he was, he didn't say anything to me about it.
How long has he had the job?
Since a week after he came out. He's a smart guy. He'd have no trouble getting work.
How about it?
I talked to the building superintendent.
Yeah.
He says Vargas left at 5:30 this afternoon.
The description of the owner of the car used in the holdup, coupled with his absence, made him a prime suspect in the robbery. We continued to talk to his wife. She gave us some of the background on Vargas. She told us that they'd only been married a little over a year, and that they were still trying to pay off the debts that her husband had incurred before their marriage. She went on to say that in the last few days he'd been depressed about their finances, and that on that morning, Vargas had said he'd figured a way out for them. Frank called the office, and the broadcast was gotten out, asking if the man be picked up and detained for questioning. 1:15 a.m. We asked Mrs. Vargas about her husband's friends.
Isn't anyone Ed's real close to?
Well, is there one man he's with more than the others, would you know? Maybe somebody he works with.
No. Unless maybe it's Vic. Ed don't have much to do with him, though. He knows I don't care for him. Don't like to have him around.
Who's that, man?
Vic Noble. He works in the same office as Ed.
And what's he look like?
Oh, not much. Little guy, kind of nondescript. Never did figure out he could be a good salesman. I'd never buy anything from him. Honestly, it makes me nervous just to have him around.
Yes,
oh, excuse me.
Yes, go right ahead. If it's your husband, it might be better if you didn't tell him we were here.
All right. Hello? Yeah, honey, where you been? What? Well, do you know when? Uh-huh. Well, did you call the police? Well, you should have called them right away. Yeah. No, I'll drive right down and pick you up. You wait right there. Uh-huh. Well, right away. That's right. Well, look, tell me where it is. Oh, yeah, I know. Turn left, yeah. All right, I'll find it. You wait right there, will you? All right, goodbye. Bye. That was Ed.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find yourself another boy.
Ma'am?
Well, whatever this is, it has something to do with Ed's car, doesn't it?
That's right.
And then you're all wrong about Ed. He couldn't have had anything to do with it.
What do you mean?
Ed's car was stolen tonight.
We got the address of the bar where Ed Vargas had called from. Frank and I drove down and talked to him. He told us that he'd left work and stopped in the bar for a couple of drinks before he went home. However, when he left the place, he found that his car was gone. He returned to the bar and spent the next several hours trying to figure out what to do. We talked to the bartender, and he verified Vargas' statement that he'd been in the place all evening. He was released from custody and allowed to return home. Frank and I continued to talk to the bartender.
Got to get ready to close up pretty quick.
Just a couple more questions.
Will you mind if I clean up the back bar while we talk?
No, sir. Go right ahead.
Thanks. Well, what do you want to know?
You told us that Vargas came in about 5:45. Is that right?
Near as I can remember, yeah. Give or take a couple of minutes on either side.
But he was here before 7.
For sure.
You meet anybody here?
How far is this going to go?
What do you mean?
Is his wife going to find out if I tell you?
Not from us.
Well, Ed and the missus haven't been getting along so good lately. You know, been beefing a lot.
Yeah.
Ed's a funny guy. He don't like no trouble at home. As soon as Sarah started giving him problems, he found another girl, a kid that works in his office. They usually drop in here for a couple of drinks before he goes home.
Yeah.
Nothing serious going on with them. Just they like to sit and talk. Ed's all the time telling her how this wife doesn't understand him. Old line, but I think he means it.
He was in here with a girl tonight, was he?
Yeah, just like all week. Every night they come in about 5:45, sit in the back booth, have a couple of martinis, and then they leave. I think maybe Ed drops her off on the way home. She don't have a car.
Yeah.
Tonight they had more than just a couple of drinks. I think maybe there was something wrong, you know, a little problem.
What about?
Look, people come in here to relax. They all got something on their minds. I make it a practice not to eavesdrop or interfere.
What was their problem, do you know?
Sarah won't hear it?
No, we told you before.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't want her to come around here causing no beef. She's jealous, you know, real jealous.
That so?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, Ed must have told the girl that he was thinking of leaving his wife, because tonight she told him to do something about it, or she was walking out. Had a little kind of tiff, and then she left. After that, he went out to get the car and found it been stolen.
Where'd he leave it, do you know?
A lot behind the building.
Did he leave the keys in the car?
I don't know. You saw him when he left, carrying a big load. He don't remember. Probably did, though.
You have anybody else in here tonight that looked like Vargas?
What do you mean?
Well, as tall as he was, maybe?
A lot of tall people come in here.
Yes, we understand. But were there any tonight?
A couple, yeah.
Any of them come in with a short fella, about 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah.
What time did they come in?
Oh, about a little after 7.
When they leave?
Well, I don't know. Maybe 7:30, 7:45. I'm not sure. There's one of the tables back there. I served them a couple of times. Didn't take much notice when they left. They paid for the drinks when I brought them. Left a $50 tip. Took off.
They come in here regular, do they?
Yeah, a couple times a week, maybe more.
They're usually together?
Well, I've never seen him any other way except once. I'd rather not remember that time.
What do you mean?
Came in there early, spent the whole night here boozing, got pretty plastered. I had to take Nick home. He couldn't make it alone.
Which one is Nick?
The short one, little guy.
What's he do for a living?
Nothing I ever heard of.
Well, how does he live?
Any way he can. Always seems to have dough. I think maybe some kind of gambler, something like that. Always loaded. The way he looks, though, you'd think he was some kind of mechanic, but he's not.
Is that right?
Sure, he dresses nice. Always got a good suit on, but he doesn't know how to carry it off.
What do you mean?
Nice fingernails. I don't think he ever cleans them.
We got complete descriptions of the two men. They matched those of the thieves perfectly. The bartender closed the place and took us down the street to a hotel where he said he'd taken Nick Roxford. We talked to the desk clerk, but we found that Roxford had moved several months before. By checking with some of the people in the hotel, we got a forwarding address for him. It was a cheap rooming house down on South Pico. Frank and I went by the city hall and ran the name through R&I. We found that Roxford had an arrest record for petty theft in ADW. He'd served a term in the county jail and was at present under the jurisdiction of the court. His mugshot was pulled and taken out to the witnesses for identification. We checked with the manager of the boarding house, and we found that Roxford and a Henry Larson were registered in one of the rooms. In the company of the manager, we went up to the room, but the pair wasn't in. We contacted the office and told them where we were. They told us that Roxford had been positively identified as one of the hold-up men. We settled down to wait for the suspects to come back. 3:30 a.m. 4. 5. 5:15 a.m.
Sounds like somebody's coming.
Well, there wasn't no other way. You was there, didn't see you doing nothing to stop it. You shot the cop.
I still think so.
All right, hold it right there.
What are you doing here?
Police officers, you're under arrest.
Watch it, Frank.
Kind of rough, didn't it?
Yeah, they did.
All right, come on. Get up. Come on. Get on your feet. Now, let's take him downtown.
Yeah. I better check the cuffs. Don't want them too tight.
No, you might hurt him, huh? Two suspects were taken downtown to the interrogation room. Henry Larson was handcuffed to the chair in robbery while Frank and I talked to Nick Roxford.
It's a bad beef. I know it. You guys are going to find out.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Ain't going to tie no robbery rap to me.
Look, we've already done it. The witnesses gave us a positive identification on you.
How could they? They never seen me.
We got a picture of you. It's pretty good.
You want to tell us about him?
I got nothing to say. I want a lawyer. I ain't going to talk till I see a lawyer.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you know the old man died?
I don't know nothing about no old man.
His wife says you're the one who stabbed him.
She's crazy.
She's willing to take it to court.
It'll never stick.
We think it will.
We think we can make you for first degree.
What about Hank?
Who, Larson?
Yeah, what happens to him?
Same charge.
You know it yet?
Well, you're the first one to hear.
What if I give you a hand?
How do you mean, man?
Well, suppose I tell you it was Hank's idea, the whole thing. Go any better with me?
You know we don't decide that.
Well, it seems like if I helped you, it'd be better with me.
All right, you want to tell us about it?
I'll make you a deal.
No deals.
Look, just promise me you won't tell Hank if I give you the real story, huh?
All right, go ahead.
Well, the whole thing was his idea right from the start. He cased the store. The whole thing was his idea.
What about the car?
Well, that was Hank's, too. He spotted it, said it'd make a good deal. You check the car, you'll find his prints all over it.
All right, what happened after that at the store?
Oh, it was Hank again. I didn't want no part of it. Hank made me. Said if I backed out, he'd get me. He's a big man. He gets mean when he's crossed. I wasn't about to give him no trouble.
Go ahead.
Well, we got to the place, and he made me go in. He made me take a piece of the action.
Now, wait a minute. Let's back up here and get this straight. You trying to tell me all the time you wanted no part of it?
No. No, you got to believe it.
Well, the way we got it, you were having a time with a knife.
Well, I got scared. That's all. I got scared. I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure you did.
Look, you got to believe me. I'm telling the truth. It was all Hank's idea. The whole thing. I want no part of it. Never did.
All right, just keep your voice down, will you?
I told you. Now, you know about the whole thing. You won't tell Hank, will you?
What difference does it make?
He finds out I told you, he'll kill me.
Remember I asked you before?
Huh?
What difference does it make?
Henry Taylor Larson and Nicholas John Roxford were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. On recommendation of the jury, they received maximum sentence and were executed in the lethal gas chamber at the State Penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Jack Webb is Jeff Regan, Investigator. Hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the man who lived by the sea.
The next time you're out for a drive, pick up Olive Street along about the 700 block. You can't miss it. It's a big building made out of white granite. The Cosmopolitan Building. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, rents an office there. International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A couple of rooms with a connecting wastebasket. The Lion has the only desk in the office and the typewriter that Remington dropped from their catalog back in 1915. I walked in about 11 o'clock last Tuesday morning. The room was loaded with taboo. She was a tall girl with a flock of black hair and a mink coat. The kind you see driving a Nash convertible down Sunset Boulevard on warm Sunday afternoons. No wonder the Lion's cigar was out. It was wet on both ends. He had one arm around her shoulders. He knew by this time that coat was the real article. There wasn't any music, but he didn't seem to mind.
Come on in, Regan.
Not much room to dance.
We got business.
She's your date.
This is Mr. Regan, Miss Kara.
How do you do, Mr. Regan? Mr. Lyon tells me you're just the man I want.
Well, he said the same thing to a mortician last week.
Miss Kara is associated with the famous psychic consultant, Prince Nemo.
I help the prince look into people's minds.
Well, that ought to be fun if all your customers are under 6.
You don't believe in thought transference, Mr. Regan?
Do you?
Prince Nemo sent Miss Kara to retain an operator.
Why didn't he come himself?
Prince Nemo never appears in public.
He misses some good ball games.
He has television.
Yeah.
The prince prefers to spend his time in meditation and thought. I handle all of his outside contacts.
Regan, I want you to drive out to Prince Nemo's home in Ocean Town with Miss Kara and speak to the prince.
What kind of a retainer did he send you?
We don't discuss finances in front of clients.
Oh, this is another blind spot. You don't know what this guy wants?
He said it's a very delicate matter, and he wants to explain it to you himself.
Oh, sure. She waltzed in here with a check, and you'd sell your grandmother to a glue factory for $2.
Is there any way I can reassure you, Mr. Regan?
Buy me a battleship.
You got a license and a contract with International.
You want to tell me about it, lady?
Prince Nemo was very excited this morning. He called me in and told me to make the arrangements.
It's not enough script.
He never tells me anything. I just work for him. Will you please?
Yeah, all right.
Here's a nickel. Call me and tell me what's up.
Suppose I can't.
Then you got something for your piggy bank.
man stood there and watched us leave. He looked happy, like a hobo in a bubble bath. Well, we went downstairs. We climbed into her convertible. The guy in the parking lot had to take a walk around the block when she flashed him a smile. I asked her about lunch. She said no. I asked her about dinner. She said something that meant no. It's like that sometimes. The flag's up, the meter's ticking, and you get nowhere. But from a couple of things she told me, I got the idea that she was doing more than help the prince read minds. His place turned out to be a good hour from Los Angeles up 101. A couple of stories of glass and concrete leaning out over the ocean. Inside, a guy in a white turban and some pants that looked like oversized diapers put his hand on a big curved knife he had in his belt. He was wearing tennis shoes.
Right this way, Mr. Regan.
Butcher?
That's Jeannie, the prince's manservant. He's from India.
But the Indians were glad to get rid of him.
Jeannie's harmless, tongueless, and he doesn't hear. I like you, Mr. Regan. And this is the prince's study.
Come in. Oh, come in.
This is Mr. Regan.
Of course. Welcome, sir. Welcome. The Lion's Eye. I'm honored, sir. Please sit down. That'll be all, Lena?
Of course. I'll be in my office.
Charming girl, Lena.
She handle all your outside contacts?
Except for those matters I must attend to personally. Mr. Regan, I'm in trouble.
It's paid for.
I want you to save my life.
You look healthy.
I am healthy, let me assure you. But my life has been threatened.
They got police department.
I thought you understood. This is a delicate matter. We aren't here to discuss me.
Who's the guy?
It's a lady, Mr. Regan. A very beautiful and lovely creature. And she'd like nothing better than to see my carcass go out with the tide.
How do you know?
She's erratic, ill-tempered, and ruthless.
Any more?
Yes, she called me this morning and told me what she intended to do.
You got a chance to reach for your gun.
To reach for you, Mr. Regan. Now, I feel the entire matter could be settled amicably if you were to call on her and inform her you are my personal bodyguard and that you are here to protect my life.
What makes you figure she'd go for that?
It's worth a try. And besides, I'm paying.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me how long you've been blackmailing her.
Blackmail? What do you mean?
Oh, your racket might last 6 months, a year, but not long enough to build a place like this. The answer's blackmail.
My dear fellow, Okay, so I should have told you.
Give it to me.
Well, I can slip them into a trance. They spill a family secret or two.
What kind of secret?
Any kind. They want their minds read. I read them. $25 a hit.
Where does the shakedown come in?
When I tell them what they told me.
You been putting a squeeze on her?
She's an actress. She was in on a deal at the studios.
And she won't shake.
She said she'd blow my head off. Look, I'm in a spot, Regan. She's the kind who'd do it and make love to the jury.
Give me a name.
Doris Patrick. Ever heard of her?
Where's she live?
Palisades. Here's her address.
All right.
You going over to talk to her now?
Well, she isn't gunning for me.
Oh, thanks a lot, Regan. You know, I've been sweating.
It's real good for a cold.
Yeah, I'll try and catch one.
You guys yell real loud when they answer back.
I'm just thinking of my future, Regan. I won't look good dead.
I left him sitting there scratching his bald head under his turban. He looked unhappy, like somebody fed him a Vaseline sandwich. Well, I climbed in my car, and I followed the highway to the turnoff back to Sunset. The Malibu fog was coming in for the winter, and by the time I got to the address Nemo'd given me, I was looking around for my hands. Doris Patrick's place was too big for a marble game and too small for football. There was a wire fence all around it and a sign every 15 or 20 feet or so that said, not to trespass. I parked in the boulevard and walked up the driveway. It was about then that a guy in a blue suit showed up. He was tall and heavy, and he caught a lot of his hat. He pulled down on the brim, blew smoke in my face, and kind of nudged me with his shoulder.
Well, go on, Pilgrim. We don't want any.
How do you know?
We're waiting for the 49s. Scram, huh?
You aren't even on the list.
All right, we'll wait for the 50s. Blow.
I came to see Doris Patrick.
Yeah, what for?
You, her?
Sure. What do you want?
Business.
Shop closed.
You always like this, or you missed lunch today?
Look, I don't know who you are, Pilgrim, but you don't understand English.
Well, I know you. There's something about a guy in a lineup.
Yeah?
He memorizes easy.
Cop?
Private.
Private or city, you all smell the same to me.
Hunting season's over. You always carry a 38, do you?
Oh, that's showing?
Well, maybe you got a broken rib.
Well, I met all kinds of funny guys.
I said I wanted to see her.
Ain't in.
Watchdog?
Now you're getting smart.
Well, you aren't.
What kind of crap is that?
Just this. I'm going in.
trick I learned a long time ago. You shoot a guy in the knee and he don't ever walk straight again.
You ever done it, punk?
Oh, sure. That's how I learned.
That's when I learned, baby. He slumped against the side of the wall, and he looked tired, like he'd been running from Compton. Well, I left him there, and I went up the driveway to the porch. Coming around a blind corner, I bumped into something that kind of relaxed and rolled into me. It was a blonde girl, about 25, in a white polo coat. I was willing to try it again, but she began talking with a voice that was deep enough to go in the oil business.
Oh, I thought you might be running interference, but you look like the whole team.
Whose side are you on, lady?
I keep score.
Doris Patrick?
You're on the right field.
Where's the locker room?
Maybe I like you. Where do you come from?
Right here.
Didn't know we raised your kind anymore. Or did you go wild?
Do I pass?
What'd you say your name was?
Regan.
Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Which highway?
Straight ahead. To the den.
Nice place you got. When's harvest time?
I said welcome.
That isn't what the tall boy said.
Tall boy?
A blue suit with a .38 and a hat.
That'd be Jesse. I was married to him once.
What about now?
Oh, he hangs around like that sometimes. I never see much of him. Trouble?
No, not much.
You got a lot of size, mister. Must have been good. Do that kind of thing often?
Only when I have to.
Sit down. How do you like it? Soda or water?
Your way.
There now. Isn't that better?
I don't know. This is my first drink.
You'll get another. It's a cold day.
Nothing here.
You're quick. Must have a good straight man.
His name's Prince Nemo.
Must we talk about him?
He thinks you're dangerous stuff.
What do you think?
Right now or when I'm a couple of feet away?
Now.
Hey, now look. Remember me? I just got here.
Your name's Regan, and we're going to get along.
Yeah.
It's in the cards.
You got a fast deck.
Go ahead. Deal.
All right. How much time between rounds?
Yes? Who? Oh, just a minute. You know somebody named Lion?
Yeah.
He has quite a roar. Here.
Yeah.
Who's the name? Where's the phone?
Nemo's friend.
Sounds like he's a friend of yours.
All right, you got something to say?
It's all off.
Check bounce?
It was certified. Nemo called 10 minutes ago and canceled the contract.
Now, what happens now?
Finished, come back to the office.
Who told you I was here?
The Prince.
It was a quick change.
We got paid.
Well, I already started something.
I don't care what you started. You finish it on your own time. Next bench sheet.
Bad news?
Well, I'm through working for the day. Well, I was an old friend of the family when I left. She didn't want me to go, but I was thinking about Prince Nemo and the way that nothing made sense. Oh, the whole thing looked phony, like an undertaker in a white derby. It didn't take 20/20 vision to see that somebody was getting anxious to make a play. Well, by the time I got home, I figured I was out of it. But my company had other ideas. It was Jesse, and he had friends.
You should lock your door, Regan.
Why? You'd crawl under.
All right, fellas.
Friends?
I just hired him.
You got a parade permit?
Stan, say hello to Regan.
Hello, Stupid.
What about Skinny?
Hiya, Grogan.
Name's Regan. He's a detective. Isn't that right? You're pretty good with your women, Regan.
You know, you look lonesome, Jesse. You got something to say?
Stay away from it.
You're shaking. You want a drink?
Already had one. Stan, Skinny, set him on a bed.
Let go.
Oh, Regan, once more. Once more. Stay away from it.
You said that before.
I want to make sure you understand. Stan, Skinny, hold his arms. I've said all the right words. Maybe my punctuation's bad, huh? Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. Okay. Okay, leave him on the bed.
Hey, he rolled off.
Oh, that's fine. Fine. Now he won't have to change his sheets.
Oh, Jesse was good. When I got up, my face looked like a relief map of Pasadena. He was wearing a signet ring. He left out some of the boulevards, but the Rose Bowl was right out in front. I found a drink in the cabinet, and I started for the mirror to see what was left. It was about then I heard a knock on the door. He was a little guy in a cab driver's suit. It figured that he got the job because they ran out of big uniforms. They double-crossed him on that cab. If it wasn't for his ears, he'd have been wearing a snood.
Hiya.
Yeah?
Football?
What do you want?
Your name, Regan.
That's what it says on the mailbox.
I met a friend of yours today.
Get to the point, will you?
A dame named Lee McCara. Yeah, Lee McCara. Come to this.
All right. You're in the register.
Wait, that ain't all. She wants to see you.
What about?
Didn't say. Just said to see if you was home. You home?
Yeah.
I got her down in my cab.
We'll send her up.
I don't think she can make it.
What do you mean?
She looks kind of funny. Maybe you better come down.
She was sitting on the edge of the seat, staring out at nothing. Her back was as stiff as a filing cabinet, and there was a little ring of white around her lips. I paid off the cabbie, and I took her back up to my place without a word. When we closed the door, she was sitting on my sofa the same way. Only this time she had a .25 automatic in her hand.
Well?
Where'd you get the gun, lady?
Gun? Oh, this? I bought it for $30.
Can I see it?
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I brought it so I could show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $30 for it. $30 for it.
Yep. Brand new, isn't it?
Oh, yes, of course. Did you know Prince Nemo was my husband?
Since when?
Long time now. Not many people know that.
Did you come here to tell me that?
No, I came to tell you that you don't have to worry anymore.
About what?
About what my husband hired you for?
Well, I've already been called off.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you meet Doris Patrick?
Yeah?
And it was about her.
What do you want, lady?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just that we don't have to worry anymore, do we?
Tell me about the gun.
Doris is very pretty, don't you think? I've seen her on the screen many times. And she's quite pretty. Could hardly blame the prince at all. Could hardly.
Why'd you bring the gun?
I imagine the air would be cleaner there, don't you?
What are you talking about?
Really very humane, they tell me.
Come on, stop it.
Just like sitting down and never waking up. I read all about it. Just walk in and sit down. You don't try to hold your breath.
Stop it, sis. Stop it. Now, listen to me. What is it? What have you done? What are you trying to say?
You don't try to hold your breath. You go right to sleep, don't you?
You're trying to tell me that you killed him?
They don't make such a great deal of noise, do they? They've been sitting there in his house by the sea. He looked very much alive, only... He isn't alive at all. Tell me, Mr. Regan, tell me. Do I make a good murderer? Do I?
Well, after she got through screaming, she settled down to a slow, even kind of giggle that started somewhere around her shoelaces and didn't get past her knees. Gave me a feeling like somebody was unwrapping an atomic bomb under a Christmas tree. Well, she wasn't going to do any more talking, so I went downstairs and brought back a doctor friend of mine named Sammy Wing. He had his little black bag with him, and he gave her a shot of something. She wilted like last night's orchid and went to sleep. Sammy wrote down a couple of things, and then he looked up at me.
Some playmate. Wish I'd have been here for the party.
How is she, Sam?
You know her better than me.
Oh, is she going to be all right?
In 4 or 5 hours, she'll wake up and want some water.
And then what?
She might ask you what happened, or it might start all over again. By the way, what was it?
I don't know. She came over to see me.
I should have visitors like this. I've been working too hard.
She said she killed a guy who was a client of mine.
Maybe I'm lucky at that. Why the past tense?
The Lion called me off the case.
Official, huh?
Yeah.
You've got nobody to protect. Where's the corpse?
At a house in Ocean Town.
Here, call the police. And you and me can go out and do our Christmas shopping.
Oh, she said she used this gun.
A .25, it killed people.
No, Sammy, there's a bullet jammed in the chamber.
Dames don't know how to reload.
It hasn't been fired.
Ballistics got better ways of telling. She's pretty and she's nice, and I'll bet she looks like $1 million in a bathing suit. But if I'd have met her within the last 3 hours, I'd have run for help.
Is that professional?
Acute hysteria. The kind that pops off guns and people and does a lot of things they can't remember later on. Call Sanducci.
Look, it doesn't figure she'd do it with this.
Maybe she had another one. While you're at it, call the coroner. Tell him to go out there with some DOA forms.
No, I'm going first.
Corpse hunt?
Just an idea.
LaBruce had an idea.
Yeah.
This dame's dipped somebody, and she's told you her story.
Well, I don't like it.
What do they do when a private eye messes up an open and shut murder case?
Sammy, stay with her, will you? There's some bourbon out in the kitchen.
Maybe both of us will get our pictures in the papers.
I left him sitting there. He looked sad, like a water buffalo caught in a drought. I pushed through the fog for about 40 minutes, and I pulled up in front of Nemo's place in Oceantown about 9:30. It was dark enough to give a ghost the creeps. I used that ring of keys that I'd taken from her purse, and I went inside. It smelled dry and still, like somebody was waiting for the world to fall apart. I clicked on my flash, and I walked down the long hall to his office. Well, he was there, just like she said. There were 3 holes in the front of his shirt, close range, but it wasn't the laundry's fault. He'd been dead maybe 2 hours. The desk drawer showed some canceled checks made out to Doris Patrick. While I was thinking that over, I spotted a .38 Smith & Wesson on the floor by his hand. Lynn had been carrying a .25. I broke it, and 3 cartridges fell out. From the looks of the holes in his chest, the .38 was the gun for the job. Well, that made her story and the .25 a fairy tale. While I was kneeling there, a light went on behind me. A fat man wearing a sheriff's star was standing with a switch. A tall leather jacket with a flashlight in his hand was in front of me. I began to feel helpless, like a trombone player with a short arm.
Scavenger hunt, son? You don't talk, Charlie.
Ain't much for him to say, is there, Cap?
Yes, not. Well, son?
You're going to be calling me names.
What do you like best? Killer, murderer, slayer? Papers use slayer a lot.
I don't like any of them.
Kind of breezy for a hot boy, ain't you?
You might give me a name.
Regan. I'm with the International Detective Bureau.
It's Regan, Cap. He's with the International Detective Bureau.
Got a card or something, son?
Yeah. Here.
This guy here, a friend of yours?
My client, Lawrence.
What'd you do for him? Okay, tell me this. Why'd you plug him?
There's another story.
Any good?
Better than the one you got.
You'll have a hard time selling it.
It's a fix.
Oh, why you want to say a thing like that?
How long you been on the force?
Easy, Regan. Me and Cap's being nice.
Phone call a little while ago. Funny kind of voice. Said we'd find a stiff here. We didn't say we'd find you.
Yeah, you're extra.
The dame who worked for him told me.
You tell homicide?
No.
That was a mistake. Where's this girl now? Name? Charlie, call a coroner. Oceantown is just a small place. Only me and Charlie around. We borrow from the county when we get something like this.
Well, I can find you a real answer in an hour.
You got ideas?
Lots of them.
You can tell me all about them later. We got a corpse, we got a suspect. You know that's good. Even a weapon.
I'll have an alibi when you check the time of death.
We'll worry about that later on. All right, son. Let's go.
Well, I had about as much chance as an elephant in a tea room if those two locked me and booked me. I leaned back into his gun, spun around, knocked his wrist down. He pulled the trigger. But I'd already hit the light switch, and he was making rockets in the dark. I left my car there and cut across the highway and doubled back up the hill. They spread out in the wrong direction. An hour later, I was standing in front of the lion's door. He was wrapped in a bathrobe big enough to keep all the silkworms working overtime.
What do you want, Regan?
Information.
You been drinking?
I've been working.
That Lena Karras here?
You sent her.
She called me and said she wanted to hire you for something else.
After Nemo canceled the contract.
Yeah, why?
You gave her my address.
I thought you ought to talk to her. What she want?
She told me that she killed the prince.
She can't do that. We got a contract.
Well, it's already been done.
We're in a spot.
Yeah, I figured that'd get through to you.
They'll be asking me all kinds of questions.
Well, why didn't you think of that before you signed?
What are we going to do?
You're going to find out where this 25 came from and if anybody fired it.
Huh?
She was carrying it when she came to me.
I don't want to get involved.
Well, you're in it up to your ears. I went out there and found the prince. Only a 38 might have done the job.
Yeah? Well, that cleans her up.
Not yet. The Oceantown sheriff and a guy named Charlie are looking for me.
What for?
They think I know something.
Do you?
Not yet. There was a tip-off. Somebody was supposed to be a patsy.
Where's Kara now?
My place with Sammy Wing.
I'm going to get a lawyer. It'll look good.
All right, give me the keys to your car.
Why?
I got a date.
Find out who fogged Nemo when we won the championship.
Yeah. You'll have to give the cup back. You cheated. I drove back out to Doris Patrick's place in the Palisades, and I rang the bell and waited. Took her a while, but she showed. She was wearing a filmy kind of a thing that made a spider's web look like canvas. I began to feel warm, like a sun lamp on a picture set.
We had a date at 9 o'clock.
I broke my watch.
Come in, I'll see if I can fix it. I'm great with a swift movement.
Yeah, it shows.
We were going to look at the stars together.
How long you been here?
I gave you up at 10. Tell me, how do you like my new dress?
It's the right color, but the wrong cut for a funeral.
I haven't read the obituaries today.
No, it'll be in tomorrow's paper.
Have a drink and let's wait for tomorrow.
Your friend Nemo was killed tonight.
He was no friend of mine. I told you that.
So did he.
He fall off his house?
Murdered.
We've been having fun up to now.
You know, you'll be first guess.
I don't think I like that.
He tried to blackmail you.
The story's backwards.
Well, that's the way it comes out.
Not quite.
You got another way?
He never tried to blackmail me.
Mm-hmm.
I blackmailed him.
How?
I went to him one day and put him in a trance. Only I used scotch. I found out what he was doing and how he was doing it, so I turned the tables. It was good, clean fun, but expensive for him.
Well, now, if he was your meal ticket, then you have an alibi, huh?
Did they cancel checks somewhere?
Right where I could find him.
I'm telling you the truth.
Where does Jesse fit?
Oh, I told you we were married once. He's jealous.
Did he know about Nemo?
Maybe.
He was watchdog when I came out.
I told you. Jesse.
Hello, gorgeous. I still have a key.
What do you want?
You?
Get out.
You still trapping with this trap?
Just in time, Jesse.
You know, you didn't list good. I told you to lay off.
Where's your friend?
Paid off. I'm handling this alone.
We've been finished for a long time.
Oh, it's starting up again, Angel. Or didn't you know Nemo was dead?
I saw your 38 tonight, Jesse.
Ah, you're wrong. It's her 38. It's got her prints in it.
What do you mean?
I put him there. And you're going to be tagged for his murder, Angel. You see, you're sort of in a spot.
Regan.
Easy, baby. This punk never did anything right.
Oh? Tell me how wrong I've been.
All right. That tip to the Ocean Town cops was wrong. Killing Nemo was wrong.
Ah, you're twisted, Pilgrim. Cops got a warrant out for you right now. Yeah, I heard on the car radio. Murder suspect. Plugging you is something they'll thank me for.
With her prints on the gun?
Well, how was I to know? I just see you and plug you. Everybody will be sorry, but it'll be manslaughter and suspended. It's pretty right, isn't it?
Well, what about me?
A friend of mine shoving off at Pedro tonight, Angel. Going all over the world. We'd be together. Well, Angel, do I plug it and meet you somewhere in 2 weeks, huh? Move over, Regan. The lady's making up her mind. Now, what do you like?
Oh, it was a real photo finish. Just as Jesse set the gun up against my head, Doris pulled a gun from the desk drawer and threw a couple of fast ones into him. Jesse tried for her. I'd call it a dead heat, but you'd have to give Doris the edge. Her first slug cut him down like a blade of grass, but she didn't give up. He's all used up.
Never shot anyone before.
You look like a professional. Give me the gun.
He deserved to die. Didn't he? Didn't he?
I don't know, lady. You knew him better. Well, it all unwound like red thread in a Levi factory. Nemo told me his phony story so he'd have a good self-defense angle when he finally got around to killing Doris Patrick some afternoon. Jesse worked for him to keep me out, but I bounced him and got inside. When Jesse phoned Nemo about it, Nemo called the Lion and had me jerked before we could compare notes. I guess Jesse went kind of crazy when he saw how well we got along. He got an idea and killed Nemo and made Doris a patsy with those fingerprints. Lena Cara? Well, she went kind of crazy, too. She found Nemo dead and got the idea she did it. It took 3 doctors a couple of days to tell her what really happened. And the Lion was mad when he found out there wasn't any money in it. But then when he saw Doris Patrick's picture in the paper, he got kind of curious. He asked just one question. What did I do all that afternoon I was out in her house? Well, I didn't even bother to answer him.
Jack Webb is featured Richard as Jeff Regan, with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. The story of the man who lived by the sea returns tonight by special request and was written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy. In tonight's cast, the role of Doris Patrick was played by Yvonne Patey. Also heard Sidney Miller, Peggy Weber, Paul Freese, Marvin Miller, and Barry Crozier. Music for this program is by Milton Charles.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. The body of a man has been found in a public park lake. Physical evidence indicates he was killed by narcotics. Your job? Check it out.
It was Monday, July 9th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Shy. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 10:23 a.m. when we got to room 42. Homicide.
That's right. Mm-hmm. You got a name on him? Yeah. Hi, Joe. Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Be right with you. Yeah? What's the spelling on that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll check it out. Right? I'll call you back. Mm-hmm. Bye.
Jack, how's it going?
Pretty good. With you?
Well, it doesn't do much good to kick.
Yeah, it never worked for me.
What do you got for us?
Now, wait a minute. I'll get the pictures.
All right.
We got it late Saturday night. Just got the results of the autopsy this morning. Thought maybe you and Frank would be interested. Here, let me clear the table. What is it? Oh, here. The way we got the story goes together like this. A couple of kids on their way home from a late show walked through MacArthur Park. Must have been about 10:30.
Yeah.
Stopped by the side of the lake for a minute, and they saw something in the water. Went down to check it and found the body of a man.
Yeah.
Here's a picture where we found him. Mm-hmm. Contacted the park authorities, and they called the police. Felony car answered, and they called us.
Uh-huh. You know who he is?
No ID on him. Made him through his prints.
Yeah.
Name's Walter Gilmer. Appears to be his true name. Got several aliases.
How about his background?
Been picked up for just about everything in the code. Copy of his arrest record.
Yeah, thanks. Your first arrest when he was 14.
Yeah. Piling him up ever since. He added up, he spent over half his life in prison.
Mm-hmm.
The way it looks, he died someplace else.
How do you figure that, Jack?
Oh, here. This is a picture taken of the path leading to the lake.
Yeah.
See here, the tracks?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he was dragged down the gravel path and then dropped into the water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See there, Joe?
Yeah. What killed him?
Well, had us for a while. No evidence of violence that could have done it. In his record, there are half a dozen people in town who'd like to take care of it.
Yeah.
Copy of the autopsy report.
All right.
That'll explain why we thought you might want a piece of it.
Yeah.
Died of narcotics poisoning.
We went over the dead man's effects without coming up with any additional information. From the report of the coroner's office, we knew that Gilmer had died of narcotics poisoning. We were not able to tell the type of the narcotics used, but it was listed as either heroin or morphine. During the past 3 months, the Southland had been flooded with an inferior grade of heroin. From chemical analysis, we knew that it was being processed in Mexico. We'd been in touch with Mexican authorities, but in spite of our joint activities, the drug continued to cross the border and it continued to be circulated. Arrests of mules and pushers had been made. Suspects had been interrogated, and all other leads had been checked out, but we were still unable to come up with the key people in the operation. The death of Walter Gilmer gave us a possible lead. We couldn't be sure that he died of the low-grade drug, but it was worth looking into. Working with Sergeants Jack McCready and Danny Galindo of Homicide Detail, we pulled Gilmer's package and we went over all of the available information on him. We made out a list of his known friends and his associates. All of the places he was known to frequent were checked. For the next 2 days, anyone who had been seen in Gilmer's company was talked to. Apparently, we were at a dead end. Thursday, July 12th, 11:14 a.m., Frank and I got back from talking to an informant. There was a note in the book to call McCready. McCready there? Yeah. Oh, Jack, Joe Friday. Mm-hmm. Well, where's he now? No, we'll be right over. Thank you.
What's he got?
One of Gilmer's friends.
Yeah?
Says he was with Gilmer when he died. Frank and I left the Central Police Station and walked over to the City Hall. By the time we'd gotten there, McCready had pulled the suspect's package and had what background information there was on the man. The three of us talked to him in the interrogation room.
For the record, what's your name?
David Flack.
How old are you?
26.
That's still your address?
Yeah. How well did you know this Walter Gilmer?
We roomed together.
How long?
A couple of years.
According to your package here, you've had several arrests for being a user. Is that right?
You got the paper.
Told us you were with Gilmer when he died.
Now, look, there you go again. What? I said I was with him when he was sick, that's all. We got together Saturday night, had dinner, and Walt didn't feel so good. He shoved off, said he was going home and get some rest. It's the last time I saw him. He went home to get some rest.
Go ahead.
With what? There ain't no more to say. You guys asked me, remember?
We talked to the manager of your apartment house.
Real goof, ain't she?
She said you and Gilmer came in together Saturday night, puts the time about 8:30. Says the two of you stayed there till about 9:30. Then she heard you come out of the elevator with Gilmer.
She's got real big ears.
That's what she says. Goes on to tell us that she went to the door of her apartment, looked out into the hall. Says she saw you carry Gilmer out of the apartment building.
I carried Walt out?
That's what she says.
You know how big Walt is?
We got an idea.
Well, you know I couldn't carry him any place. God weighs me about 50 pounds. I ain't that strong.
The landlady's willing to testify to it.
Yeah, she talks a lot.
She's going to talk you right into the joint. We find Gilmer an hour later dead. You're the last person seen with him. Fit you real good, Flack. From here, it looks like you're right for a 187 charge.
You figure you can nail me down for murder, huh?
Worth a try.
Yeah, but can you make it go?
We think so.
Now, one thing's going to louse it up.
Yeah?
I didn't do it. I had no part in it. None.
You better tell us then, huh?
If I give it to you, it'll make a difference?
Depends on the words. Go ahead.
Where do I start?
The beginning will do.
Yeah. I guess Saturday afternoon's as good as any.
We'll listen.
Old Walt got himself a new connection, said it was a good one.
For heroin?
Yeah. Got a good buy and a couple of bindles, said it was a real good deal.
You know where?
No, he wouldn't tell me. He just said it was his and that when I needed some stuff, he'd set it up for me.
You're on H2, huh?
Yeah, why lie to you? A couple of days in the tank will bring it out anyway. Yeah, I'm swinging a pretty good habit.
How much?
Shooting 3 a day.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, Walt had a fix about 4 in the afternoon. We were going out for dinner, and Walt said he had enough H so he could take one for free.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we went out and got something to eat. Walt didn't eat much, said he felt way out, didn't hardly eat at all.
Yeah?
Went back to the apartment, sat around, talked. Tried to get him to tell me where he made the connection. He just laughed and said it was the best thing he ever fell into.
Didn't he give you any idea?
No, not a smell.
All right.
Well, pretty soon he said he didn't feel so good. I thought maybe he needed another pop. I asked him if he wanted me to cook it for him. He said no. Said he just wanted to get some air. Told me he couldn't breathe too good. Just lay there on the bed grabbing for air.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him if he wanted me to call a doctor, get somebody up there to fix him. He looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
He told me he didn't want anybody, just to leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
About an hour later, I checked with him, and I wanted to see if he felt any better. He was dead.
You took him out of the apartment then?
Yeah, I got scared. I didn't know what had happened, but I could see you guys laying it on me.
What'd you do?
Took him out to the park, got him in the back seat of the car, and took him out there. Sat in the car for about 15 minutes waiting for a couple of kids to leave. They were sitting on the bench near there talking. I had to wait for them to leave.
Yeah.
After they'd gone, I dragged Walt down the water and dumped him in the lake.
What about his identification?
Took it out of his pocket. Figured he'd give me a couple of days to try and grow an alibi. Figured it'd take that long for you to find out who he was.
You just left him in the lake then, huh?
Yeah. Drove back to the house and tried to figure what to do. Think of somebody who'd go me an alibi.
You haven't got any idea where Gilmer made the connection, huh?
No.
You know where he went Saturday afternoon?
No, he left the place about 10 in the morning. I didn't see him until about 3 or maybe 3:30. He was holding pretty good then, real happy, laughing it up all over the place. Oh, Walt, he had a real good laugh when he was feeling good. Gee, I still can't get it straight that he's dead.
Gilmer have any close friends that you know of?
Couple, not more than that.
Want to give us their names?
I guess, as long as they don't find out.
Did you meet any new people he told you about?
If he did, he didn't say nothing. I'm sorry, I'd sure like to help you. It's a lousy trick making Walt think he was getting such a good deal and having it turn out like this. It's a lousy deal.
Mm-hmm.
He was real happy because he thought he scored real big, got it real cheap. Told me he hardly paid anything for it.
Well, he had it wrong, didn't he?
Huh?
He was overcharged. We continued to talk to David Flack. From him, we got additional names of people Walter Gilmer had dealings with. We also got the addresses of bars and restaurants the dead man was known to have frequented. In our interrogation of Flack, he was unable to give us any lead as to where Gilmer might have bought the lethal narcotics. Thursday afternoon at 4:21 p.m., Flack was taken to the main jail to be booked in on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. Frank and I went back to the office and talked with Captain Shy. We told him what had happened, and we reviewed the progress we'd made in attempting to apprehend the leaders of the narcotic ring. After talking over all the possibilities, it was decided that the only way we had of getting to the higher-ups in the operation was for one of us to go underground. It was decided that I would act the part of a buyer from Northern California and try to make the contact with the members of the ring. I was given a quantity of marked bills and fictitious identification before I left the office. Frank and I worked out a method for communication, and I went home to change my clothes. I left all of my police identification there, and the next morning I began to be seen in the bars and restaurants where Walter Gilmer was known. For the first week, it went slow. The people involved were cautious of all newcomers. On Saturday, July 21st, I had breakfast, and then I walked over to a small place on East 7th Street.
Not open for business yet, Joe.
No problem. I have some time to kill. Thought I'd do it here if you got no beef.
No, sit down. Just getting the booze up from downstairs. Hey, you want something? A Coke, maybe?
Yeah. You got one that's cold?
Yeah. I could put a shot in it if you want.
No, it's all right. It's too early.
Boss don't like it if I pour before 10.
Mm-hmm. How's business?
Oh, not bad. Guess it's a little slow all over.
Yeah.
How's it going with you, Joe?
Slow.
How long you figure to be in town?
Only got a couple more days.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get back up north.
Never heard you say what you did.
I told you I'm a promoter.
You mean like price fights?
No, anything I can make a buck on.
Well, what are you working on now?
Well, I got a deal.
Yeah, I guess you'd rather I didn't get too nosy, huh?
Yeah, it might be better that way.
Mm-hmm. Word's out you're trying to make a buy.
What's that?
I say, word's out you're trying to make a buy.
That's so?
Yeah, that's what the word is.
Where's it from?
Around. No place you can point to, just around.
Anything on what I'm looking for?
I understand it's H.
Is that what you think?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what the word is.
Uh-huh.
I understand you're a good friend of Walt Gilmer.
Yeah, I know him. We didn't live together. I knew him.
Rough thing about Walt.
Yeah, yes it is.
Did you ever find out what killed him?
I don't know. I don't read the papers much. Was it in the papers?
Yeah. Rumble is he got some bad stuff.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
There might be. I told you. I don't know.
Well, I guess if you're a friend of his, you'd like to talk to his connection, huh?
Well, it doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. You ain't sore about Walt, then, huh?
I told you I knew him. I didn't know him good. Just enough to say hello. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rough the way he went.
We'll call it your way. Well, I'll see you around, Al.
Hey, you gotta leave, huh?
Told you, I only got a couple more days in town. I gotta line something up before I go back.
Well, maybe I can give you a hand.
Yeah?
Depends on what you're after. I got a lot of friends around. Might be able to do you some good.
Now, how are you going to work that?
Well, how much you want to buy?
What's that?
Come off it, Joe. We got the rumble on you. You're down here from Sacramento. You're here to make a buy. It's a simple question. How much you want to take back with you?
If I wanted to make a connection, you the guy I'm supposed to see? If I wanted to make a connection.
Might work out that way.
You holding now?
A little.
How big?
Enough to handle your action.
I want a couple ounces.
That's a lot of stuff.
I don't sell cut rate. Now, you holding that much, or aren't you?
No, I can line it up for you.
Where do you take your piece?
Off the top. I make the deal for you.
Oh, no. No go.
Huh?
I don't know how you work things here, but I only do business with a gun.
Yeah, well, this one don't work that way.
Well, then let's forget the whole thing.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold it, Joe.
Yeah.
You got the cash?
I can get it.
Maybe it'll work out. I'll have to see.
I deal with the gun or the buy's off?
I'll check it.
Is it good stuff?
Best we got to offer.
That's not much of an answer, is it?
It's good.
When will you know? When will you know?
Well, we'll wait here. I'll make a phone call.
All right.
This is Al. Yeah, I know, but this is important. Got a guy here who wants to buy a couple of shirts. All large size. Uh-huh. As far as we know, he is. I talked to you about. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. No, he says he won't buy them from anybody else. Yeah, that's what I told him. He says he's got it. Just a minute, I'll check. You'll be here about 7 tonight?
Huh?
You be here tonight about 7?
Well, we can make the deal, sure.
Yeah, he can make it. All right. Yeah, I know. I told you we checked. He's all right. Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Goodbye. Deal's made.
All right.
Be here at 7. Make it sharp, huh?
Okay.
You meet the boss.
I got in touch with Frank, and I filled him in on what had happened. For the first time in several months, it appeared as if we had a concrete lead to the operators of the dope ring. It was arranged to keep the bar under surveillance, but not to take anybody into custody until a buy had been made. I went back to the room I was renting, and I waited. I left at 5:30, had something to eat, and at 5 minutes to 7, I walked into the bar. The place was crowded. There wasn't an empty stool, and most of the booths were taken. I edged up to the bar and caught the bartender's attention.
Hiya, Joe. You're early.
No, you said 7 sharp.
Yeah.
We gonna do business?
Wait till I get out from behind the bar. Yes. Back here, Joe. Yeah, here it is.
You're joking, aren't you?
No, Joe, this is the boss.
Well, I had it figured a little different.
Yeah, everybody does.
The woman sitting in the booth was in her late 30s or early 40s. It was hard to tell. She had dark hair and blue eyes. The suit she was wearing was gray, and it looked expensive. After the bartender introduced us, she told him to bring a drink, and then she motioned me to sit down.
Your name's Joe Frizee, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Al tells me you want some action.
Well, he gave you the story.
How do I know you're a legitimate dealer?
You don't.
Still, you want me to go out on a limb and turn over 2 ounces of heroin to you?
I'm willing to pay for it, lady.
Where's it going to go?
Up north.
A lot of ground.
Sacramento.
You got the route to get rid of it?
They're waiting for it now.
Go in, and I should tell you I haven't got 2 ounces.
Well, and I'm wasting my time.
But I can get it.
How soon?
Sit down.
All right.
How quick do you need it?
I want to leave town in a couple of days. I told Al.
You working alone?
I don't see how that figures in the price.
You're wrong.
What?
Case we've got goes for $4.50 an ounce.
It's pretty high.
The best we can get.
Should be.
If you want to make a deal, the price comes down.
No, I can't swing more than 2 ounces.
Even if the price was dropped?
How much?
To $3.50.
No, it doesn't fit. What's the angle?
If you're on your own, it must get a little tiresome to have to carry the load by yourself.
Maybe.
I was thinking that maybe you'd like a partner.
You?
That's what I had in mind.
No go.
Why?
Oh, a lot of reasons. Mainly because I don't need anybody.
Then it's going to cost you $4.50.
Well, I figured that going in.
When do you want the stuff?
Tomorrow night will do.
It'll have to be late. We got it coming in then.
From where?
The price doesn't include that.
Okay. Where do I pick the H up?
Alf will call you. He'll give you the time and the place.
Well, if it's high grade, I might want some more.
You can pay our price. You'll get it.
It's all right.
You're making a big mistake, Joe.
That's all?
Yeah. I got L.A. sewed up good and tight. Good distribution. All the product I need. You got the North. We put them together. We could both come out real well.
No, I told you before. I don't need partners.
You might be wrong, Joe.
What?
You might already have one.
I stopped by the bar and gave the bartender my phone number. He said he'd call me as soon as he had any information. I left the place and walked over to 5th Street. At a corner restaurant, I put in a call to Frank, and I filled him in on what had happened. It was set up that he and Sergeant Roxy Lucarelli would keep me under surveillance all the following day. In the meantime, the woman, Dolores Page, would be watched also. I went back to the hotel where I was staying and went to bed. At 3:30 a.m., the phone rang, and the bartender, Alf, told me to get dressed and meet him in front of the hotel right away. He said we were leaving town immediately to make the narcotics buy. I tried to call Frank and fill him in on what had happened, but I couldn't reach him. I got in touch with the office and left word regarding the meet, and then went downstairs to wait for Alf. At 3:45 a.m., Alf drove up to the entrance. I tried to stall as long as possible to give the men from the office time to get there, but finally we left the hotel before they arrived. In the car with Alf and myself were a man who introduced himself as Earl and the woman, Dolores Page. We drove down to the beach and turned south on Highway 101. We continued down to San Diego. At 6:30 a.m., we checked into a small hotel, and Alf, along with Earl, left to make the meet and the buy. I tried to find out where they were going, but they refused to give me any information. Dolores Page and I waited for him to come back. I was unable to contact the San Diego authorities, telling them what to watch out for. Apparently, I'd lost contact with Frank and Lucarelli. The only hope now was that someplace along the line, the page woman and her associate would make some kind of a mistake. We waited at the hotel until 12:15 when Alf and Earl returned.
Where's Earl?
Downstairs in the car.
How come you're so late?
We got hung up on the other side of National City. Customs inspection. Went through the car.
Find anything?
No, but there's something wrong about the whole deal.
What do you mean?
Looked like they were waiting for us, like somebody had tipped them off we were coming through.
What makes you think that?
The way they acted. Other cars had just looked over. Ours, they went all the way through, took the seats out, checked the tires, even climbed underneath. I tell you, somebody tipped them off. They were waiting.
Anything wrong with this? I want no part of it. You understand that?
We've been working it a long time without no hitch. All of a sudden, you come along, we got trouble.
What are you trying to build?
Just that it's funny it had happened now, first time you're here.
Are you trying to say that I got something to do with the shakedown?
If it fits, wear it.
Now, you listen, you two-bit punk. I got more to lose than you have. I'm paying top price for this product. I got customers waiting now. You come breezing in here and try to lay one of your own mistakes on me, and I'll break your back.
You talk like a man 12 feet tall.
I don't have to be that big.
All right,
you.
knock it off. You two beefing isn't going to do any good. They didn't find anything. You got no call to figure it was a tip, Alf. No reason at all. Now, let's get out of here.
Tell your boy to get off my back.
Don't worry about it. There won't be any more trouble.
Better not be. But I'll spell it out for you.
Is that right?
There is, and I'm going to cause it.
The three of us went downstairs and got into the car. We started to drive back to Los Angeles. From what I could find out, the narcotics buy had been made in Mexico, but the heroin was not in the car we were driving. We continued up the coast. Just south of Oceanside, California, we began to follow a large bus. As we drove, I noticed that Alf was being careful to keep the vehicle in sight. At San Clemente, the bus pulled into a small roadside restaurant for a rest stop. We parked immediately in back of it. Alf got out of the car and approached the bus. He walked up to the rear of the vehicle, reached under the rear bumper, and removed a small package wrapped in waterproof material. He checked the contents, and then he walked back to the car.
Get it?
Yeah, right where we put the stuff.
Get in. Let me have it.
Yeah.
There it is, Joe. Got the money?
You want to wrap it up right here?
No reason not to.
Why don't we wait till we get back to town? It'll be easier there.
You got any special reason to wait?
No.
Got the money?
Yep.
Then why wait?
Well, let me see what I'm buying.
Here.
Yeah, looks all right.
Best we can buy. You don't have to taste it.
What are you trying to pull?
What?
What are you trying to sell me? This stuff's no good. You're not going to stick me $4.50 for this junk?
You made the deal.
And I'm leaving it. I want no part of it.
It's a little late to come up with that.
You haven't been paid yet.
We will be. Get out of the car.
Leave him alone, Alf.
We've done it your way all along. It hasn't worked out. From here on, I'm going to call it.
You're doing it wrong, Alf.
You let me worry about that. Get out, mister. Go on.
Well, where to?
Let's take a walk around the back of the buildings. Go ahead.
Figure to kill me and come up with the money, too. Is that it?
Keep walking.
You know you're not going to get away with it, don't you?
You keep buying those fairy tales.
Maybe we can make a deal, Alf.
Yeah?
If you get the money, it doesn't make any difference about me, does it?
What do you mean?
Now, wait a minute. Suppose I give you the money. You got it clean. You don't have to roust me then, do you?
Maybe I'll like shoving you around. I never did figure you on our side.
Why?
Because you knew Walt Gilman.
What happened to him doesn't make any difference to me.
It don't read good, Joe. Right from the beginning, I didn't figure you.
What do you mean? You set the deal up, didn't you?
Looked like some fast change. I didn't count on this much McGill. It's not worth it.
All this talk about Walt, what's he got to do with it?
He was working with us, pushing. Got too wise. Thought he could do it without us.
So you gave him a connection with Bad H, is that it?
That's it.
You kill me and Dolores isn't going to like it. You know that, don't you?
The wheel just passed out of her hands. Come on, let's get it over with.
All right. Where to?
Back there.
What are you trying to prove? All right, come on, Al. Stop the gun.
Joe, you all right?
Yeah.
We've been right behind you since you left Dago.
Yeah? How'd you work that?
Well, I got the message you left at the office. We had a tail on the page woman. Picked you up down south.
How about her and that other fellow back there?
Roxy's got him.
Let me have your handcuffs, will you?
Yeah, here. The bartender?
Yeah. He copped out to giving Walt Gilmer the bad junk.
Huh. That takes care of it then, huh?
Yeah, come on, let's get him to the car. All right. Come on, get up. Well, I'm glad this one's over.
Yeah. Well, you don't look any the worse for wear.
All right.
Sure. You didn't really have anything to worry about.
Is that right?
Well, sure. You don't mind me telling you that, do you?
It's a good thing you weren't 2 minutes later.
Huh?
I might not have heard you.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Dolores Marie Page and Alfred Giles Harnett were tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. David Alcott Flack was tried and convicted of using narcotics, and Earl Tyler Rockland was tried and convicted of possession of narcotics. They all received sentence as prescribed by law. Murder in the first degree is punishable by life imprisonment in the state penitentiary. Possession of narcotics, first offense, is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 1 year. Using narcotics is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 1 year.
Dragnet. The story of your police force in action is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Madero, Pier 23. You know, the only time San Francisco really gets hot is when a tourist calls it Frisco, and then it gets warm enough to give a sleigh dog a southern accent. Down around the waterfront, they don't care so much. And for $1, you can insult anybody but Joe DiMaggio. The piers stretch out like a big yawn from south of the ferry building clear to the China docks. You pushed over on one side so you won't notice about the same spot you'll find dust in a bride's parlor. You find Pier 23. From there, it's a short skip to Johnny Madero's boat shop. My place. The sign outside looks honest, but down here the only sign people pay any attention to is rigor mortis. I rent boats and do anything else you can blame on your environment. It works out all right. But pretty soon word gets around and you got a reputation. It doesn't pay to argue, because even if you're leveling, you make as much headway as a whistler with a split lip. I found that out last Wednesday afternoon. I was looking out the window watching the tide come in when somebody in back of me coughed. When I turned, Nat Finley was standing there in the office. He didn't say anything for a minute, and you noticed his eyes were as soft as the inside of a woman's arm. He had one of those faraway looks you couldn't follow with a road map. And then I saw the rest of him. He wasn't flabby, but he was on the way. And you got the idea he was an ex-fighter who settled down with a restaurant.
I got the right place, haven't I?
If a woman screams you haven't, what's on your mind?
That's a good question, Madero. That's a good question. That's what I want you to find out.
Look, fella, maybe I don't even want to be friendly. What's on your mind?
I don't know, Madero. I don't know.
All right, you convinced me. Now back out of here. We'll both be in the dark. Huh?
Wait a minute, Madero. Listen to me. My name is Nat Finley. My wife and I live up on Nob Hill, and I've been retired for a while, see? And...
I don't, but go ahead.
Well, you got to help me, Madero. I'll pay you $50 a day to help me.
At that price, it won't be help.
I want you to find someone for me, but I don't know who or why yet.
We're back to that again, huh?
Oh, listen to me. Lately, a name's been ringing in my ears. Just a name. Pete Sutro. Pete Sutro. Over and over again.
So you read it somewhere.
I don't know where I picked it up. For the last week, the name Pete Sutro has been on my mind. It's a nightmare. You got to do something about it, Madero.
Change your diet. That might help.
I want you to find Pete Sutro. Find out who he is, where he is, why he's bothering me. If you do, I'll give you a $200 bonus.
Look, Finley, is this a job or a career? There must be a dozen Sutros from here to Jersey City.
Maybe, but the Pete Sutro I want lives right here in this town. He's got to.
There's a law?
Now, listen to me, Madero. Last night, I kept hearing the name Sutro again. Only this time there was an address, too. It was care of General Delivery, San Francisco. So he's got to be somewhere in this town.
Why don't you check the phone book?
I have, and the city directory, too. But so far, I haven't been able to locate him.
And I will, huh?
Well, if you don't, you're still getting $50 a day. What are you worried about?
That $50 a day? It might turn out to be a dream, too. You better throw in some advance money.
Well, sure, Madero. I brought a check along, just in case. Will $100 cover your doubts?
Yeah, if the bank can cover your check.
If they can't, you don't have to do the job. That fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Will you start looking right away?
Yeah.
But you got to be careful, Madero. My wife's never to know about this, understand?
Why?
Because, well, she doesn't like the idea. She thinks I'm a little crazy looking for a name like this. She hates me, I think. She thinks I'm crazy.
Don't worry about her, Finley, until she starts mixing your nightcaps. For $50 a day, I'll chase anybody's dream. Because with that kind of dough, you're rich enough to run down a couple of your own. When Finley left, I called the bank and found out his check had solid backing. So I went down to Lofty's and I put out some feelers on Pete Sutro. It didn't take long before one of the boys came up with a lead. A couple of other people were looking for Sutro, too. One was a guy named Marty Kane. The other was a torch singer named Evelyn Day. The word was that Sutro and Evelyn used to trade mash notes in Detroit. Well, I phoned the Jade Club where Evelyn was working, but she wasn't due for an hour, so I decided to give Marty Kane the first try. He was living in a motel out in the marina, so I went out. There was a sign outside that said modern cabins, but you knew Abe Lincoln did better in Illinois. The cabins were the size of an upper berth with enough holes to start a punch board. That didn't leave much privacy. You had more chance of keeping a secret from Matt or Harry. I asked the manager where Kane's place was, and he pointed to the end cabin. I went over and knocked on the door. Kane opened it and glared. His eyes were the color of Saturday night on a week-old Jag, and he was so chunky you figured he'd be harder to move than an icebox through a basement window.
Who are you?
My name's Madero, Johnny Madero.
Don't rhyme with anything. What are you looking for?
A guy named Pete Sutro. I hear you got the same idea.
So you got ears. I'll invite you in.
I can't turn you down.
Yeah, that's what everybody says about this gun. Now sit down. You get me nervous.
Put away the gun and we'll both be calm, huh?
After you tell me what you know about Sutro.
I'm tracking down a dream.
Yours?
A client's. You sound anxious. What's your pitch?
A wild one. Just say he owes me some dough and I need it bad now.
You got the muscles. Take in laundry.
I'll put you through the ringer first. I want to lead on Sutro.
Yeah, we both do, but I'm not going down on my knees.
Get up, Madero. I don't want to make a liar out of you again.
You're tough, Kane. I'll bet you got your dander scared stiff.
Yeah, and I'll start on yours now. What's Sutro to you?
$50 a day. A guy named Nat Finley hired me to track him down. Does that make you happy?
No, just ambitious. Who's Nat Finley?
He came in and paid me to find Sutro. He said the name was giving him nightmares.
Sounds like a bedtime story, Madero.
Well, if you don't like it, jazz it up. It's the truth.
I read the wrong papers. Give me another version.
All right, if you don't believe me, Kane, make up your own. Here's Finley's check. Can you read?
If you'll help me with the big words. Give it here. Nat Finley. Yeah, Nat Finley. You weren't lying. Looks like a good check. I'll take a chance. I'll cash it for you.
It's giving you IDs, huh?
Yeah, and the first one's about you. Well, here's your dough, Madero. Now get out. Get out quick.
Oh, you're too good to me, Kane. Suppose the check bounces.
It won't, Madero, because I ain't going to cash it.
Oh, I couldn't figure it. Kane looked at the check and smiled like a guy who just learned all about the atom bomb. I walked out, and the only thing I knew for sure was the demand for Pete Sutro was big enough to start a business boom. I headed back to my apartment to see how much lip I could bring down with an ice bag and a little pressure. When I got there, the door was open and the light was on. Inside, things looked even brighter. The brunette was draped over the couch like she paid the first installment on it. She was about 25, with a pair of legs that would have made a silkworm turn over and write a fan letter. She wore a tan business suit, and the way it was rumpled up, you knew office hours were over. When she saw me, she began to vibrate like an alarm clock at 6 a.m.
Good evening.
I won't argue, but you got the wrong room.
Will I regret it?
I don't know you that well.
Oh, you'll catch up with the crowd. My name is Sheila. I'm Nat Finley's wife.
You should be somebody's wife. It cuts down on the risk.
I want to talk to you.
Go ahead. I'll try not to stare.
Let's have a drink first, Mr. Madero. Maybe it will cloud your vision.
Yeah, and the issue, too, huh?
You serve strong stuff, Mr. Madero. Soda?
I'm all charged up now, lady. What's on your mind?
I have a problem. Maybe you can help me.
Maybe it's too late. I'm listening.
It's about my husband, Nat. He tries, but You can't hide much from me.
Now that you have the same trouble. Look, lady, you're working too hard for a sale. If you got a point, make it.
All right, Mr. Madero, we'll skip the intermission. My husband saw you tonight and sold you a wild story.
Yeah, but it paid off. So far, I'm not complaining.
But I am. I want you to drop the whole silly job Nat gave you.
You're not building a case. $50 a day buys a lot of hangover, lady.
You don't understand, Mr. Madero. My husband is a sick man.
Yeah, I know. He can't sleep at night.
He has a large imagination, and it's been getting worse lately. He, dreams up things. Sometimes I think he's a little crazy.
Maybe it's a hobby. He can afford it.
There are some things even he can't afford.
Yeah, like finding Pete Sutro.
That's right, Mr. Madero. There is no such man.
A guy named Marty Kane will give you odds.
Who did you say?
Marty Kane. He cashed in your husband's check. You know him?
No. No, I never heard of him.
You don't sound so sure. Marty was talking about Sutro.
All right, Mr. Madero, I'm talking about something else now. Money.
So far, you're whispering.
Shouting, Mr. Madero. $500 worth. I'll give you $500 to drop the job and forget everything.
All right, baby, you twisted my arm.
You won't let me down, Mr. Madero. Will you?
If I do, it'll be nice and easy. Finley had the kind of a wife you mate with a panther. She picked up her purse and peeled off 500 fish. She wasn't talking anymore, and when she swayed out, you wondered how much night practice she'd given that rumba. Well, I was all washed up with the Finleys, and it felt good already. So did the dough. I felt like a guy whose name was just picked in a chain letter. My mind was free for the better things in life. So I called up a girl out on Van Ness and told her to meet me at the Regent Bowling Alley. I got there before she did, so I started warming up the alley. A few minutes later, it got a lot warmer because Inspector Warcheck of San Francisco Homicide began spoiling my game.
Hello, Madero. It was a nice strike.
You're in the wrong kind of alley, Warcheck. What do you want?
Some pointers? You got time?
No.
I can see how you hold a bowling ball. Now show me how you hold a gun, huh?
All right, Warcheck. What's on your mind?
I was on Marty Kane's.
A guy named Pete Sutro. He owed Kane some money.
And you paid off?
I paid him a visit. We had something in common.
And you must have bored him to death. Kane couldn't quite stand a couple of slugs in his forehead, so he quit.
Well, what do you want me to do, Warcheck? Break the news to his wife?
No. Just tell me about the argument you had.
It was a monologue. Kane wanted to know where Sutro was hiding. I only knew one answer, so he did all the talking.
Oh, you should have said please. It's not polite to interrupt a guy with a gun.
Look, Warcheck, what makes me the blue plate special?
The motel manager, he said you go into Kane's room, and then he heard a struggle, and then later on he heard a shot.
Did he hear who won the fourth? Listen, copper, a guy named Nat Finley hired me to find out who Pete Sutro was. The name was playing tag in his brain all week, and he wanted to know why.
Yeah, does that sound like a story?
Check with Finley. He's the guy who made it up.
What if he lets you down?
And work on his wife. She's not bad looking, and she paid me to drop Finley's account.
I'll check both your alibis, Madero. In the meantime, I want to line you up.
While you're making your rounds, look up a gal named Evelyn Day. She knew Sutro, too.
Go ahead. Run the police force. Tell me what to ask her.
Forget it, Warcheck. You're not the type. Warcheck stood there for a second, wiping his teeth with his tongue. If he'd done it on the outside, it would have been a contract job. And then one of the bowlers in a tight pair of slacks brushed up against him and went out. He looked at me once more and headed after her. Well, I didn't feel much like bowling either, so I left a note at the desk for the girlfriend and started out. I knew I was in trouble. Some days it's harder to duck trouble than a handful of pebbles. Oh, I told myself I didn't kill Kane, but that was like trying to fight a fire with an anti-smoke law. The big question was Pete Sutro. Who was he? There were other questions, like why did the Finley dame buy me off? And why did her husband want Sutro in the first place? Well, there were no answers, and I felt about as safe as an alligator walking through a handbag factory, so I looked up the only good guy I know, a waterfront priest named Father Leahy. I found him in his room flipping through a couple of raffle books.
Hello, Johnny. You're just in time to buy a ticket. The boys' club is raffling off an electric toaster.
I'm already a little burned, Father.
I'm in a spot, Johnny. The boys gave me a quota to fill. I got stuck at a banker's luncheon all afternoon. You know what they're like on risk.
Yeah.
I've got to sell some tickets.
All right, I'll buy a couple, but I need your help. I'm in trouble.
You'd better buy 5. At a time like this, both of us can afford to be generous. What kind of trouble?
This won't take long, Father.
You always say that, but it adds up. You don't realize it, but I lose whole weekends that way.
Will you please listen, Father? Warcheck wants to pin me down on a murder.
He's got the weight. Who's dead?
A guy named Marty Kane. I saw him a couple of hours ago, and he was still alive when I left.
Can you prove it?
Well, that's going to be tough. The clerk at the motel saw me go into Kane's room just before he got tumbled.
So far, you don't have a way out. Why not plead insanity?
I would, but I'm afraid of the competition.
What do you mean?
A muddled-up guy named Nat Finley hired me to chase down the name Pete Sutro. He claimed the name was haunting him.
I know how he feels. Johnny, I don't think the bishop likes me either.
My only lead was Marty Kane. He seemed to want Sutro worse than I did.
Sutro is certainly popular for a dream. Do you think he'll ever materialize?
I don't know, but I don't think Marty Kane was killed over a dream.
If he was, it must have been quite a nightmare. Did you look up your client again?
I didn't have the time. His wife paid me to drop the whole job. She said Finley was a harmless duck with a pail full of wild ideas.
Does the husband feel the same way about his wife?
Do you want gossip, Father, or do you want to help me?
That's an unfair question, Johnny. Either way, I'm embarrassed.
Please, Father. Will you check up on a few people for me?
Yes.
Look up Kane's friends, and if you run out of those, try his enemies. Find out who might have had an urge to kill him, will you?
It's a tall order, Johnny. There may be a lot of people involved.
I can use them all, Father.
I know. But can they all use an electric toaster?
When I left Father Leahy, I knew I still had one base to tag. It was Sutro's ex-flame, a doll named Evelyn Day. I drove down to Eddy Street and I parked near the Jade Club. Oh, it's not a bad place, but on a slow night, even the winos are afraid to go in. Inside, it was dark enough to hide the decimal point on the check, and over by the bar, there was a piano playing music that nobody was listening to. And then Evelyn came out. And right off, he started hunting for the nearest fire exit. She had red hair about this side of 98 degrees, and she wore a black evening gown that held up by one strap and a prayer. She was the kind of a girl who could wear a Mother Hubbard and make it look like a negligee. And when she sang, it came out low enough to strike oil. After she was through, I asked the bartender to give her a message. She walked over to me, and she wasn't happy one way or the other.
Are you the man who wanted me?
One of them. You're Evelyn, huh?
Yeah. What'll it lead to?
A crisis if you don't sit down.
All right. You've got me interested. Now, what's on your mind? That we can talk about?
My name's Madero. Now, let's start with a friend named Pete Sutro.
Let's continue. What do you want to know about him?
Where is he?
Are you a cop, or will you pay for the right answer?
I need too many of them, baby. I'm way out ahead in the murder derby, and I'll pitch homicide anybody I can get.
What do you want Sutro for?
I think he shot Marty Kane.
Someone should have. But you're betting on the wrong horse.
You're prejudiced. Sutro was your boyfriend.
That's right. He was my boyfriend. But I haven't seen him lately.
All right, then. What was the last thing you did with him?
I'll read my diary to you someday.
Now, look, baby, you got a choice. I'm going to rough you up or let the pros do it.
Let go of my arm, Madero. Or I'll call a bouncer.
Call Sutro. Now, start talking before I bruise you up good.
Slow down, Madero. You're out of my weight class.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you want to know.
Should I take notes, or is this going to be quick?
I don't know. Depends on how sentimental I get.
That's all right. I got a handkerchief.
Okay, I'll tell you. I used to be Pete Sutro's girl in Detroit. Then one day he skipped out and left me hanging on the vine.
Don't worry, baby. You haven't withered yet.
I started looking for him, and so did Kane.
Why Kane?
He and Pete had a deal together. Pete ran out with all the dough.
Your boy should have run for Congress. He's got a nice record. What kind of a deal did he have with Kane?
I don't remember.
All of a sudden, huh?
I'm shy when it comes to strangers. Let's just end it by saying Pete disappeared.
Let's say you're dummying up.
I love Pete, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to him.
Do you carry a picture with that torch, baby?
Sure. Want to see? Here's a snapshot of Pete in my locket. Do you know him?
Not this season, no.
I want him back. He was a good guy.
Yeah, your boy worked up a lot of people. He made number one nightmare for a guy named Nat Finley.
I heard. And I want to see Finley, too.
You saw me, miss. But I want to talk to Madero.
Hello, Finley.
I got to see you alone, Madero. And I got to see you now.
You lost your option. I'm freelancing again.
Well, you can't walk out on me.
This is going to hurt, fella. Your wife paid me to drop the job.
That's what I got to talk to you about, Madero. I think she wants to drop me, too.
Finley grabbed me by the arm, and you could tell he was scared. His jaw was shut tighter than a wall safe, and his Adam's apple rode up and down like a yo-yo. Evelyn wanted to compare notes with him on Sutro, but right now Finley was as friendly as a no-limit poker game. He hustled me out of the Jade and into a waiting cab. He wouldn't say anything because of the driver, so he sat in one corner, rubbing his hands and looking straight ahead. When we got to the office, Finley paid the bill, and we went up the ramp. Inside, he had a little trouble getting started, like a big family leaving on a picnic. And then he got his voice.
I'm in a bad spot, Madero. I need help.
Have you tried classified?
I'm trying you. I tell you, my wife's out to get me. She keeps telling me I'm crazy. She's trying to talk me into it.
A lot of wives feel that way, Finley. She'll get over it.
Yeah? Well, I'm Madero. She's trying to send me to an asylum. She and Sutro.
You got enough worries to start a peace conference. What brings Sutro back into the headlines?
I found a letter in Sheila's purse. Kane wanted $10,000 from Sheila to keep quiet about Sutro.
All right, quit crowding me with ghosts. So your wife had a past.
And she and Sutro have a future unless you help me. I tell you, Sutro's behind the whole thing. He and my wife must know each other, and they're trying to get rid of me.
You're getting a complex, Finley. Slow down.
Well, you got to help me.
Well, who's going to help me? I got a murder rap to beat.
Oh, but I'll clear you, Madero. I'll clear you if you help me now.
You couldn't clear your own throat in an empty tunnel. What makes you 8 feet tall?
This gun in my hand.
Well, stop pointing it, fella. You're too nervous to aim.
Well, you don't understand, Madero. I'm not pointing it at you. I'm giving it to you. This is the gun that killed Kane.
You were there when it happened?
No, but either my wife or Sutro was.
When did you dream that up?
An hour ago. I found it in my wife's closet. 2 slugs are missing, and I got a feeling it killed Kane.
Send it to homicide. They'll let you know who did it by return mail.
I can't, Madero. I can't just yet. I don't know whether Sheila or Sutro did it. I got a feeling inside. You've got to find Sutro or he'll end up killing me yet.
That's a prediction?
Wait a minute. Someone's coming down the hall. Hide the gun, Madero. They're after me now.
Yeah.
They got the light fuse.
Lay low. They're aiming for something bigger.
What are you going to do, Madero?
Just waiting for something to happen.
Ooh! Madero. I guess it happened.
Somebody turned a flashlight in my eyes and then hit a 4-bagger. If they hung around, they could have seen me do a couple of quick quivers a chorus girl would have been proud of. I laid there in the dark for a while. If you're going to look messy, a blackout isn't a bad place to do it. After a while, I tried to get up, but my stomach felt as empty as a horse laugh at a funeral. I sprawled out again, and I tried to figure how a name like Pete Sutro could start so much pain. Then the lights went on. They should have stayed off because Warcheck was breathing over me like a steam engine with a broken heart.
Hello, Madero. Does the light bother your eyes?
Yeah, Warcheck. Get out of it.
And get used to it. It's a lot stronger down at headquarters. Tell me about the gun on the floor.
I heard you were coming. I wanted to commit suicide.
You didn't try hard enough. Just got a phone tip that said you had the gun that killed Marty Kane. Hand it to me.
All right, Copper, I'll make it easy for you. Finley left the gun here before somebody sapped me.
Uh-huh. Who's somebody? Don't any of your friends have names?
Sure. Check with Finley. He was here when it happened.
It was dark, Madero. How did he see? With an electric eye?
I don't know. Maybe he smelled his wife's perfume. Look her up, too.
She's that interesting, huh?
Kane used to think so.
What do you mean?
It was blackmailing her.
Look, Madero, a grocery list is blackmail to you. What put you on the inside?
Finley found a letter in her purse. Kane wanted $10,000 to keep quiet about Sutro.
Finley told you all about it, huh?
He can't keep a family secret.
And the wife tumbled Kane to keep him quiet. Is that the idea?
Well, this is your good day, Warcheck. Find Sutro now, and you've licked the whole thing.
No, you find him, Madero, and we'll give you a reward.
You're too generous. What's the pitch?
Sutro's wanted for a payroll robbery in Detroit. He's been out of sight for a year now.
He hasn't been out of mind, though. Finley thinks his wife is carrying on a sideline with him.
Look, Madero, I talked to your boy, Finley. He's got enough dreams to start a mattress factory. I don't believe him. I don't believe you.
You don't believe the world is round. Take stock, Warcheck, and start learning.
Yeah, I will. Let's see how much the fingerprints on this gun teach me. You've got a story? I'll stay after school.
You'll still wear the dunce cap.
That's all right, Madero. There'll be a badge on it.
Warcheck wrapped the gun up in a handkerchief, and if it killed Marty Kane, I might as well start writing letters to the governor. The gun was a plant, but I had about as much chance of selling that to Warcheck as a pair of short pants to a reform school. Warcheck stood there and smiled, and then he walked out. Oh, there were a lot of questions again, like who sapped him, and did Finley really have a story? The more I thought about it, the more snarled it got. And then the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Johnny. This is Father Leahy. Are you still free?
Yeah, but I'm breathing hard. How'd you make out?
Fine, Johnny. I sold 10 raffle tickets.
What'd you find out?
Warcheck just got a teletype. Sutro pulled a payroll robbery in Detroit. They think Marty Kane helped him.
Well, that figures. What else?
Sutro and the dough are supposed to be somewhere in town.
Yeah, even the bloodhounds are worried. How does Sheila figure?
She and a girl named Evelyn were both in love with Sutro. But rumor has it that Sutro's favorite was Evelyn.
What about Finley?
Sheila must have got tired of sharecropping, so she settled for Finley. They both came in from Detroit about a year ago.
But, Father, it's still fuzzy. Marty Kane was blackmailing Sheila because of Sutro. There must be a tie.
Evelyn's asking the same question, and she thinks Sheila knows the answers. She's on our way to the Finley place for a showdown.
Thanks, Father. I'll tag along and grab a seat on the sidelines.
It'll be a free-for-all if those two girls tangle.
Don't worry, Father. They won't get in my hair.
Don't be too sure. Samson had trouble with one girl.
When Father Leahy hung up, all the pieces began to fall into place. All but one. Where was Sutro? He was around somewhere, but it was like throwing a headlock on a shadow. I grabbed a cab out to the Stafford Arms, and when I got there, the doorman looked at me as if I'd just blown up an orphan. I took the elevator and got off on the 6th floor. Then I leaned on the doorbell, and Sheila answered. She was wearing a pair of rose-colored lounging pajamas, and I've seen baked potatoes with lucid jackets. She must have been surprised, but she didn't blink an eyelash.
Are you pausing or opposing, Mr. Madero?
I'm looking for trapdoors.
Oh, well, if you're going to look that way, come inside.
Yeah.
Now bring that gleam in your eye over to the fireplace. They'll warm it up a little.
It won't look good in company.
Why? Who's company?
Evelyn's a little late. She got tied up sharpening her claws.
Evelyn who?
Hold out, baby. She's got a better question than that.
Like what?
Like, where's Pete Sutro? The key sounds like a friend.
That's too early. That's probably my husband, Matt.
Oh, hello, Madero. I'm glad you're here. Somebody's been following me.
Oh, you're dreaming again, darling.
You see? What did I tell you? It wasn't a dream. That must be her.
Hello, Sheila. Remember me?
You must have the wrong place, lady.
That's the right idea. I want Pete Sutro back.
You want too much.
I'll grab anyway. I've come for Pete, Sheila.
You came too late. He's dead. Pete Sutro died 2 years ago in Detroit. You hear me? He's dead.
Not dead enough. You're lying, Sheila. Pete Sutro is standing right behind you.
What do you mean? That's my husband. That's Nat.
So you gave him another name and another face. But you can't give him another voice. That's Pete Sutro.
What are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm not Pete Sutro.
Don't you remember me, Pete? I'm Evelyn. Oh, what did they do to your face, darling?
My face? I was in an accident. It's hard to remember things.
Remember the payroll robbery, Pete? You were supposed to come back to me.
Payroll robbery? It was an accident. And I was hurt. I can't remember anything else. It's so hard to think. Well, you were there, Sheila. What happened?
Go ahead, Sheila. Tell him what happened. Tell him that he's Pete Sutro. Tell him that you stole him from me. Tell him that you killed Marty Kane.
All right, Evelyn. I'll tell it to you first. It was a good campaign, but I'm voting you down.
Put away
now.
the gun. He won't stand for it.
He's henpecked now.
What are you doing, Sheila? You'll hurt him.
I'll try.
You shot her. You shot... Evelyn.
Please. You remember me. She broke us up for good. But you remember me.
Yeah. I remembered. Evelyn. I'm beginning to remember a lot of things now.
Then forget him, Ned. Just you and me now. We're married.
You are. You married a guy named Nat Finley.
Stay away from me, Nat. Nat.
Try Pete. See how it sounds. Give me the gun, baby.
Let go.
You killed Evelyn.
Let go. You didn't need her.
Not anymore. I got the gun now.
No, please, Nat. Please.
Tell me it's a dream, baby. Tell me I'm crazy.
You are, Nat. You are. Get out of my way. I'm getting out of here.
You're not quick enough.
The gun's empty now.
Yeah. So's everything. I'm tired, Madero. Tired.
Hold out. It's going to be a long trip.
Yeah. I told you, Madero. Pete Sutro was going to kill me in the end.
Yeah. You talked yourself into it. Warcheck got the whole story the next morning. Seems that Sutro and Kane were in a big robbery in Detroit. The plan was for Sutro to carry all the dough and meet Kane and Evelyn at their hideout. But Sutro got smashed up in an auto accident and never made it. Sutro's face had to be remodeled, and when he lost his memory, Sheila made her pitch. She promoted a wedding and cut herself in on half the stolen cash. Changed his name to Nat Finley and brought him out to San Francisco. Kane and Evelyn got wind that Sutro had taken off to the coast, so they followed. They couldn't find him, and for a year, Sheila and Sutro got along without a hitch. And then Sutro began hearing his real name in his own mind, and before Sheila could do anything, a I'd already shown her husband's check to King. He recognized Sutro's handwriting right away, and so he started to blackmail Sheila. He didn't make any yardage because Sheila stopped him with a .38. And then she tried to convince her husband that he was crazy. Evelyn won in the last round when she recognized Sutro's voice at the Jade. Turned out that Sutro had been chasing himself until he caught himself. Well, Warchek asked only one question. How can a guy forget his own name? I don't know. A lot of hotels would like to know that, too.
Johnny Madero, Pier 23, starring Jack Webb as Johnny Madero, has been presented by the Mutual Network. Johnny Madero is written by Herb Margolis and Lou Morheim. Gail Gordon played Father Leahy. Bill Conrad played Inspector Warchek of Homicide. John Garfield played Nat Pinley. Others in the cast were Gene Rogers, Joan Banks. Original music was composed and conducted by Harry Zimmerman, and the entire production was directed by Nat Wolff. Tony Lafrano.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. A 13-year-old girl has disappeared from her home. There's reason to suspect foul play. Your job, investigate.
It was Saturday, April 17th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the 4th floor, and it was 11:52 p.m. when I got down to the main floor. Squad room.
That's you, Joe?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Oh, not too good.
Did he say anything?
No. He says we got him for the job, but it's going to end there. He's playing the big man now. He says he's not going to name that other kid.
Yeah. Let him sweat it out tonight. He'll feel different in the morning, maybe.
I hope you're right. Anything come in?
As soon as I finish up this log, we can shove off if you want to.
All right.
You going right home? I say you're going right home.
Well, I thought maybe I'd go by the city hall. I'd like to see Danny Galindo for a minute.
What, are you going to eat then?
Yeah, I'll probably grab something. You want to go?
Might as well. Kind of hungry. I don't like to wake Faye up. She sleeps kind of light, you know. She always wakes up when I get to rattling around the kitchen.
Yeah.
Maybe stop and have a poached egg and some corned beef hash? How's that sound to you?
Like a poached egg and some corned beef hash.
Well, I'm not kidding. I'm hungry.
Are you about finished there?
Yeah.
I want to see Danny before he leaves.
What is it, something special?
No, I heard that he had a set of golf clubs for sale. I thought maybe I'd look at them.
Are you going to start playing golf?
No. I thought maybe I'd take a look at them. I got it. Juvenile Division, Friday. Yes, ma'am, that's right. What's that address? All right, no, we'll find it. We'll try not to worry. We'll be right there. Yes, ma'am. Goodbye. Well, that food of yours is going to have to wait.
What?
13-year-old kid's missing.
Probably at a neighbor's.
Her mother thinks she's been kidnapped. Frank and I left the office immediately, and we drove out to the address I'd been given on the phone. The caller had told me that her 13-year-old daughter was missing from the house. We parked our car a block from the place and walked the rest of the way in the event that the house might be watched. 12463 Courtney Terrace was a large house above Hollywood Boulevard. When we got there, all of the lights were on. Frank waited while I went up to the front door, and after a few minutes, he joined me. We were admitted to the house by a tall man in his early 40s who identified himself as the missing girl's father, Gilbert Moran. He asked us to come into the den of the house where he gave us the story.
My wife's with the doctor. She went all to pieces when it finally hit her.
Yes, sir. Now, have you checked with the girl's friends?
Yes, sir. Gladys called them all. None of them have seen her.
How about the neighbors?
Oh, we've talked to them, too. They just can't tell us anything. You've got to find her.
Yes, sir. We'll do our best, Miss Moran. Now, you want to start at the beginning and tell us what happened?
Yeah. Do you want a cigarette?
No, you go ahead. I have one here.
How about you?
Oh, I have one. Here's a match.
Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, thank you. All right, sir. Do you want to tell us what happened?
Well, Gladys and I went to a show tonight down on the boulevard. We left Bunny here doing her homework.
Bunny, that's your daughter?
Yes, sir. Her name's really Lucille, but the kids at grammar school tagged her Bunny, and she's been called that ever since.
Uh-huh. What time did you get here?
It must have been about 11:40, somewhere near there.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice that your daughter was gone right away?
No, sir, not at first. I locked up, and then Gladys and I went upstairs. We checked Bunny's room, and she was gone.
I see.
Gladys started to think all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to calm her down. We got Bunny's telephone book and started to call her friends. We know most of them. They hadn't seen her. Finally, I thought it'd be wrong to wait any longer, and we called you.
All right, sir. Now, do you want to give us a description of your girl?
Would you wait just a minute? I'd like to talk to the doctor and see if Gladys is all right.
Yes, sir. You go right ahead.
She was terribly upset.
Yes, sir. We understand.
What do you think?
I don't know. Big house, nice neighborhood. Looks like he's pretty well fixed, doesn't he?
Yeah. Nothing about a contact yet.
The girl's only been gone a couple hours.
The doctor's giving her a sedative. She's still pretty much upset.
Yes, sir. Now, what if you give us that description?
Well, she's 13 and about right for her age.
Well, how do you mean, sir?
She's about 4'8", weighs around 80 pounds.
What color's her hair?
Dark blonde. She was always after her mother to let her use one of those rinses to make it lighter. Gladys said she should wait.
I see. How about her eyes?
Sort of brown, light. We used to tell her that she had honey-colored eyes, a sort of golden brown, real long eyelashes.
Now, can you remember what she was wearing?
Let me think. Well, as I remember, sir, she had on a pair of clam diggers, sir. Clam diggers, short slacks. Hit her about right here, short.
I see, uh-huh. What color?
Denim, sort of light blue.
I see.
White blouse. Sort of like a man's shirt.
How about shoes?
Well, I think they were, Gosh, I'm sorry, sir. I just can't remember.
Now, is it possible she might have changed her clothes before she left?
She didn't leave, Sergeant. She was taken out of here. I'm sure it wasn't her idea.
All right, sir, we understand. Is there anything else about your daughter that would make it easier for us to identify her?
Well, I can't think of anything.
All right. Frank, what if you call us in, please?
Yeah. May I use your phone, Mr. Moran?
Certainly.
Where is it, please?
Right through that door. There's an alcove in the hall.
All right.
The light switch is on the right, just behind the door.
Thanks, sir.
Say, wait a minute.
Yes, sir?
I forgot about Skippy.
Who's that?
Skippy, the dog, Bunny's dog. He's gone, too.
Is that right?
He must be with Bunny. First time I thought of him. He's usually right with her all the time. I haven't seen him since we got home.
What kind of an animal is he?
Golden cocker, about 4 years old. Bunny got him for her 9th birthday.
I see. Better call on in, too, huh?
Yeah.
I wonder if I could see her room.
Oh, sure. It's upstairs.
This way?
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're not going to be angry, Mr. Moran.
What?
Has there been any trouble here in your home that might have affected the girl?
What do you mean?
Well, any arguments, disagreements, anything that might have upset her?
No.
No. Upstairs?
Yes.
How about boyfriends?
You mean, does Bunny have any?
That's right.
Oh, there are a couple of kids in her class she has over once in a while. She's not allowed any nighttime dates.
I see.
Once in a while on a weekend, we go to a show and take one of the kids with us.
Is there any one boy that she sees more than the others?
Oh, no. Gladys and I both think she's too young for that. It's down this way, Sergeant.
All right.
This is her room. When we left, she was sitting right there at the desk. You can see how there's paper scattered all over.
Yeah. Looks a little like there was a struggle, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And she wouldn't do a thing like this if you just walked out.
No, sir. Where does this door lead over here?
Outside to a walk that runs around the house.
Locked. Was it this way when you came home?
Oh, yes, sir. I didn't touch a thing as soon as I realized she was gone.
The radio was still on, wasn't it?
I told you I didn't touch a thing.
I see.
She's been kidnapped, Sergeant. Somebody took her out of this house.
Wait a minute, Miss Moran.
Well, what is it? What have you found?
There's something under the bed here, doesn't it?
It's her dog, Skippy.
Yeah. Looks like he's been beaten to death, doesn't it? Frank called the office and the description of the missing girl was broadcast. Captain Warren Stilson was contacted and he sent a crew of men out to the house to go over the room for physical evidence. The telephone company was contacted and arrangements were made for an extension phone to be placed in the same room as the existing instrument. In this manner, if the kidnapper should attempt to make contact with Moran, we could relay instructions to him easily. All of these preparations, however, were made with the thought that the house might be under surveillance by the person or persons who had taken the child. A team of men from Georgia Street Juvenile was sent out to the house and a 24-hour watch was set up. Frank and I began to talk to the neighbors and friends of the Morans. None of them could shed any light on the missing teenager. By 4 minutes to 6 on Sunday morning, there still had been no attempt at communication by the kidnappers. By this time, the girl's description had been given out to all officers in the city who might come in contact with her. Although when we talked with the neighbors, we'd asked them to keep the inquiries in strictest confidence, one of them had gotten in touch with a local newspaper. And before we had a chance to stop it, the news of Bunny Moran's disappearance was out.
The other papers in the city picked up the news, and by noon on Sunday, special editions were on the streets. 1:40 p.m. Still no word from the girl's abductors. Her friends were re-questioned without results. All of the people who knew her or who had any dealings with her were interrogated. Still no leads. The examination by members of the crime lab turned up no usable evidence. They established that the dog had been killed with a metal bookend. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was contacted, and they assigned a team of agents to work with us. By 6:20 p.m., Mrs. Moran was in a state of complete collapse. The entire city and the state were looking for a 13-year-old daughter. A roundup of all known deviants was started. 10:38 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office.
I'll check the book.
All right. Is the skipper in?
No, I don't think so. Hargrove said he went over to City Hall meeting with Chief Brown and Lorman.
Anything in the book?
Let's see. There's a couple of calls. Nothing that can't wait, though.
Well, you better call Faye, hadn't you, and tell her where you are?
Yeah, I guess.
I want to tag by Leighton Prince before we go out to the house.
Yeah. You check with the FBI?
Yeah. They got the description of all of the border points. None of the guards remember seeing the girl.
Figure she's still in the States, then. Oh, hi, honey. That's me. Mm-hmm. I know. Well, I didn't get a chance. Well, I figured you'd read it. You don't know. Oh, okay, pretty beat. Yeah, Joe is, too. No, nothing yet. What's that? Well, you know I can't talk about that, honey. Yeah. Yeah, well, don't worry. No, a little headache, yeah. I'll take some aspirin. Look, I'll call you first chance I get. Yeah. Okay, goodbye.
Worried, huh?
Yeah, she always is when I'm late. Let's go, huh?
Yeah, let's go. I get it. Juvenile Division, Friday. How long ago? Where? Right, we'll wait here. Yeah. No, I'll call him. He's over with Chief Brown. Mm-hmm. We'll wait. Yeah, bye.
What do you got?
Kidnapper made contact.
A note?
He called and wanted to talk to Moran. Druggist heard him make the call and notified Hollywood Division.
Yeah.
He's in custody now. Frank and I waited until the suspect was brought into the office for questioning. He'd been apprehended in a drugstore while he was on the phone talking to Mr. Moran. A radio card picked him up and driven him over to Georgia Street Juvenile. We called Captain Powers at the City Hall, and he immediately came to the office. At 10:56 p.m., the suspect arrived. He was taken to the office of the night watch commander for questioning.
All right. What's your name?
You're the cop. You tell me.
Take everything out of your pockets.
What is this, a shakedown?
Don't you hear good?
All right. There's my wallet.
Any money in it?
Couple of bucks.
Take it out.
What are you doing, playing a lucky dollar contest?
Keep the money in your hand. Just put the wallet on the table.
Get the other pockets out.
Nothing in them.
Let us worry about that.
All right. Change. There's a comb. Handkerchief. Clean, too. Matches. Cigarettes. There's a pen and pencil set. Couple more pennies. That's it.
Want to check it, Joe?
Yeah. This your wallet?
It was in my pocket.
I asked you if it was yours.
Yeah.
Driver's license here. That's your true name?
Better read it so you can have it in the record.
Mark Lawrence Lansdale. That's your true name?
That's what it says.
You still live at the same address?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one question, Lansdale. I want the right answer.
What do I get if I come up with a winner?
Where's the Moran girl?
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you better find out. 13-year-old kid's missing. You called her parents and asked for $50,000 for a return. Now, where's the girl?
I thought you arrested guys for using the needle.
Answer the question, mister.
If I had it, you'd get it.
All right, mister. I'm going to ask you once more. Where's the girl?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You think you're pretty big, don't you?
I'll answer that one for you.
You do that, will you?
You say this girl's been kidnapped. All right?
This is your party.
You say you can prove that I made a call asking for $50,000. So far, I'm on the right track? All right. Then it figures that if you're so sure I got something to do with it, if I'm here, the girl's in trouble, don't it?
Go ahead.
If I don't turn up, something bad's likely to happen to her. True?
You're still on.
Well, if it's like I say that I don't know anything about it, then you're going to have to turn me loose anyway. I got nothing to worry about, Cop. You keep me here and your prize kid's liable to end up in a ditch. You let me go and maybe you got a chance of getting it back.
I'm going to spell it out for you, Lansdale, and you listen good. There's nothing getting you out of here, nothing. I got 2 kids of my own, and I know how those parents feel. I'm on their side. If anything happens to that girl, you won't forget it for the rest of your life. And if I've got anything to say about it, that won't be very long. I'll pull every string I know to see that I get to take you to the joint and strap you in the chair myself. If you harm that kid in any way, you won't live long enough to regret it.
Big man with a badge.
I get it. Juvenile Friday. He's right here. Where? All right, I'll tell him. No? All right, bye. The Hollywood station, Skipper.
Yeah?
They found the girl. The call had come from the Hollywood police station telling us that the Moran girl had been found. We contacted Lieutenant Hartgrove and had Mark Lansdale held for further questioning. Frank, Captain Powers, and I left the office and drove to the Courtney Terrace address where the girl had been taken. When we got there was a uniformed officer standing by the front door. We went in and found Mr. and Mrs. Moran with their daughter Bunny waiting for us. The girl appeared to be all right. Her face was dirty and scratched. Her clothing was torn, but she appeared to be in good health.
Are you hungry, dear? Would you like a bowl of soup or something?
If it's not too much trouble.
Not at all, honey. I'll get it right away. Now, you stop when you get tired.
I will, Mother.
You want to go ahead, Bunny?
Yes. Where do you want me to begin?
What happened on Saturday night?
Daddy and Mother went to a show. I was upstairs doing my homework.
I see.
I guess I was up there a half an hour, maybe more. Seems like that long. Hard to tell when you're doing work, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first thing I knew, it was somebody at the front door. I heard the bell and went downstairs. There were two men there.
I see.
They asked if my mother and father were home. I told them no, that they'd gone out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told me that they knew that all the time. Said there'd been some kind of an accident and that I should go with them right away. Said it was an emergency.
And you went with them, did you?
Yeah. I went upstairs to my room to get a coat. I wanted to make sure Skippy was all right.
Yeah.
One of them went with me. While I was getting my coat, I remembered that sometimes kidnappers tell people there's been an accident so they can take them away. You know how they do.
That was good thinking, Bunny.
Would you go ahead, please, miss?
I asked the man who followed me where Mom and Dad were, what hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He said they were in a hospital. They'd been taken to some kind of an emergency place.
He said that they were not in the hospital?
No, he said they'd been taken to some sort of emergency
I see.
place.
All right, go ahead, please.
Well, when I asked him for the name of the place, he wouldn't tell me. Just said I should hurry up, that my folks had been hurt pretty bad.
It's a dirty lie.
Anyway, I told him I wouldn't go, and he grabbed me. He said he was going to take me.
I'd like to get my hands on him. Was the other man downstairs all this time?
Well, I guess so. I didn't see him.
All right, go ahead, miss, please.
Here's your soup, honey. Now drink it while it's still hot.
What kind?
It's black bean, just like you like it. Go on now while it's hot. Well, there's some nice crackers there, too.
Thanks, Mother. That's good. I'm hungry.
Would you like to go ahead, miss, please?
Can't you let her eat? Poor child, after what she's been through.
There's another man out, Mrs. Moran. We've got to find him. He's right, Gladys.
Well, you go ahead and eat while you're talking.
Yes, Mother.
And not too fast.
All right.
Please go ahead, miss.
Well, when he grabbed me, Skippy, that's my dog, he got sore. Got real mad when he saw the man grab me, and he jumped at the man, tried to bite him.
I see.
The man hit Skippy, grabbed him and hit him a lot. I guess it killed him. I don't know.
What happened then?
Well, they took me out the car. It's parked outside in front of the house.
Did you get a good look at the car?
Mm-hmm.
You can give us a description of it then.
Yeah, I can tell you all about it.
All right, where'd the men take you?
Well, they drove for a long time. I think it's up in the hills someplace, up in Laurel Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
There's just kind of a house there, tar paper. Looks like the buildings they had when they were building the freeway. Tar paper shacks like the, they keep the blueprints in.
Mm-hmm.
One of those. Didn't even have a floor, just dirt. They put me in there and left me. I heard them lock the door when they went away.
I see.
I didn't know what to do. Sat there for a little while and tried to think what to do.
Did they have you tied in any way?
Yeah, they had ropes around my hands and around my feet.
Mm-hmm.
I fell asleep after a while. Cried for a while and then fell asleep.
Oh, my poor baby.
I guess it was morning when I woke up. I couldn't tell too good because there wasn't any window in the shack, just the walls and no floor.
Mm-hmm.
First, when I woke up, I didn't know where I was, and I remembered.
Did either of the men come back at all?
No, I sat there for a while, and then I tried to think of some way I could get away.
Yeah.
There was a whiskey bottle on the floor, and I kicked it until I broke it. Then I took one of the pieces and cut the ropes on my hands. I untied my feet and then just went around the shack kicking the walls until I found a place that wasn't strong. I found one and I crawled through.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do then?
I started to walk. It was pretty late by that time, and I started to walk down the road. I was looking for a house.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a street and walked along it for a while. There weren't many cars, but a truck came along, and the driver stopped and gave me a lift. Drove me to Laurel and Hollywood Boulevard and then let me out.
Yeah.
After that, I walked home.
You were real brave, honey.
I was pretty scared. There were a lot of times I didn't know what to do.
You just bet there were, baby, but you did good. You're safe now.
Can you describe the two men for us, do you think?
I guess so. One of them was dark, kind of short, looked like... Oh, what's his name? You see him on television all the time, real mean-looking. I'll think of his name. Looked exactly like him.
Mm-hmm. What about the other one?
He wasn't very big either, kind of brown hair, thin, had blue eyes, watery blue eyes.
Were those the only two men you saw?
Yeah, just the two.
Did they talk about anybody else being in on the kidnapping with them, do you remember?
Not that I could hear.
You're sure about that, are you?
Yes.
Sergeant, what's so important about that?
Well, sir, we've got a man in custody. The one who called you.
Yes?
Neither one of these descriptions match him. We continued to talk to the Moran girl. We got a complete description of both men involved and of the car they used. Local and APBs were gotten out on them. The fact that the descriptions varied and did not match the suspect we had in custody meant very little. A witness or a victim under stress might easily be mistaken. We talked with a family doctor, and he told us that after a good night's sleep, the girl would be able to cooperate with us completely. The following morning, Monday, April 19th, a special show-up was arranged at the main jail. Our suspect was placed in a line with other men in custody. Bunny Moran failed to identify him. Frank and I took her over to the city hall and had her look through mug shots that had been pulled from packages as a result of the run by the stats office. She was unable to point out a suspect. 1:40 p.m. We asked her if she could show us the shack where she'd been held captive. She said she could. We called her parents and told them where we were going, and then we left the office. We picked up a policewoman and drove out the freeway to Sunset Boulevard and turned off. When we got to Laurel Canyon Boulevard, we drove past Lookout Mountain Avenue, and then we turned left onto a dirt road. We drove for about a mile and a half. There was no sign of any type of building.
It's right up ahead around the next corner.
You sure you're on the right road?
Yeah, I remember walking down this one. That's right.
Hey, that's as far as we can go. Dead end.
Maybe I did make a mistake. Maybe I did. I was sure it was along here, but maybe I was wrong. It might have been the next road up. You know, the one past where we turned off?
Uh-huh. You want to turn around, Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry about it.
That's all right, miss.
Guess it seems like a wild goose chase, huh?
No.
Sure hope not. I know where it is. I just got mixed up.
All right.
We'll find it. I'm sure we will.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just disappear, can it?
No, not likely.
Here someplace. You'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We went back to Laurel Canyon Boulevard and drove up all of the dirt roads in the vicinity. We didn't find the shack. Each time, Bunny Moran would offer some excuse. Finally, we asked her to describe the truck that had picked her up. She gave us a description that would fit 200 or 300 vehicles in the city. She was unable to tell us the name of the driver who'd stopped. We took her back to the office and asked her to go over the story again. When she finished, Frank left to get Captain Powers. All right, you want to tell us now?
What do you mean?
The real story, the way it really happened. Might be easier if you told us first, don't you think?
I told you there isn't any more to tell. I told you all how it happened.
Why are you lying?
I'm not lying. That's the way it happened.
Now, look, there are half a dozen places where the story you just told us doesn't fit with what you said last night.
I was tired last night. Maybe I didn't remember.
That's kind of hard to buy. Too many things that don't check out, miss. The story about your dog, the fact that you can't find the shack. You don't know who the driver of the truck was. There are a lot of things.
I forgot, that's all. I made a mistake. Didn't you ever make a mistake?
A lot of them. But last night you said that only one of the men went upstairs with you. Now, isn't that right?
I don't remember.
You seemed pretty sure about it then.
And I guess that's what I said.
Only one of the men went with you, huh?
That's what I said, yes.
Well, then why, when you told the story just now, did you say that both of them went with you?
I don't know. You're getting me all mixed up.
Did you kill your dog? Did you?
Yes.
Why?
I had to. To make the story sound real. I didn't want to, but I had to.
Well, why'd you do it at all, miss?
So they wouldn't mind, that's the reason.
What do you mean, so who wouldn't mind?
You'll think it's silly. You won't think it's a good reason.
Why'd you tell me anyway, huh?
Because I was failing.
What?
I flunked at school. I flunked and I didn't want my folks to know. They'd be real mad. Real mad.
So you figured this kidnap thing out, huh? Played it that way.
Yes. I thought that if something bad happened to me, they'd be so glad to have me back it wouldn't matter about my flunking.
The whole thing was a lie from the beginning to end, huh?
Yes, all of it.
All right, youngster, we better get going.
Where?
We'll take you home.
You gonna tell my folks about it?
We haven't got much choice, have we?
They'll be mad. Madder than they've ever been.
Well, I guess they will.
What'll I tell them? What'll I say?
Well, I'll tell you, why don't you try something different?
Huh?
Tell them the truth.
Present at the meeting were Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Moran and their daughter Lucille. It was decided that no criminal complaint be issued, and the girl was released to the custody of her parents with the understanding that she be given psychiatric help. Further investigation showed Mark Hartwell Lansdale was wanted by authorities in Sacramento to answer a burglary charge. He was released to them.
Dragnet. The story of your police force in action is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
shoe, and so she got a maid with lovely shoes a girl can't lose. In gallon caps she'll raise.
More miles to a gallon cap. Yes, gallon caps, the family shoe stores with the yellow fronts. The largest shoe chain in the West, with stores from Canada to Mexico to serve the West. GALLENKAMPS, Gallon Caps present Pat Novak for Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you always bite off more than you can chew. It's tough on your windpipe, but you don't go hungry. Down here, a lot of people figure it's better to be a fat guy in a graveyard than a thin guy in a stew. That way you can be sure of a tight fit. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else that makes a sound like money. It works out all right if your mother doesn't mind you coming home for Christmas in a box. I found that out Wednesday night about 9 o'clock. I closed the shop early and I came home to read. Well, it wasn't a bad book if you ever wanted to start a forest fire. It was one of those historical things, and the girl in it was just getting her second wind and her third man when the door to my apartment opened and the place began to get crowded. From where I sat, the crowd looked good. She sauntered in, moving slowly from side to side like 118 pounds of warm smoke. Her voice was all right, too. It reminded you of a furnace full of marshmallows.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for knocking.
I don't think you mind my coming in without warning.
No, I get the cabbage smell from next door the same way.
Does it pay to be that polite, Mr. Novak?
Saves you the trouble of saying please. What's on your mind?
That bottle in front of you. Will you pour me a drink?
No. You'll save dough if you look up a bartender.
All right. I came to use you instead of your whiskey anyway.
Talk.
My name is Lee Underwood. I'll give you $300 to do something for me. It'll only take an hour.
That's too much dough unless it's murder. And if it is murder, it's not enough dough.
Are you afraid?
I just don't like paid murder, I told you. When you get caught, the pain gets expensive.
If it were murder, I'd do it myself. Mr. Novak, I want you to frighten someone for me.
Why don't you hire a friend? Are they too pretty?
It's a man named Dixie Gilian. You'll find him in an office down on Folsom Street, at this address. I promise nothing will happen to you.
That's what they told Billy Kahn.
He'll be in this office until 11 tonight. I want you to go in and see him, tell him you're from Adrian, and that he's to get out of town by tomorrow noon.
Suppose he wants to put it off.
He won't. Don't let him know who hired you. Just tell him Adrian said to leave.
Yeah. You better go home. For $300, I won't buy a tissue paper plot. Now tell me more or say goodbye.
There's not much more I can tell you, except there won't be any trouble. He's a rotten little beast, and I want him frightened badly.
Why?
He's been bothering my sister.
Why doesn't he bother you?
Because I bother back too fast. Do you want the $300, Mr. Novak?
Yeah, it's going to be a long winter. Put it on the table.
Good. And you'll need this, too.
No, you keep it. I don't want a gun.
It's empty, don't worry. See? No shells. It's perfectly safe.
Now, look, I got a nasty disposition. You can rent that for $300, but if you want more, find a gunsel or an off-duty copper with you.
I don't want you to be a gunsel. That's why I want you to use this gun. I know it's empty. If you use it on Dixie, he'll scare fast. It's just a way to save some breath.
All right, it's your $300.
You better go now.
Yeah. Wait till I get a coat. If your doorbell rings, don't play mouse.
Oh?
Because I may look you up.
Am I too young to ask why?
Because if anything goes wrong, I'll be around looking for you. And from there on, it won't be nice. I'll dirty you up like a locker room towel.
Relax, Patsy. You'll never learn to fall in love that way.
She handed me the gun and walked out of my apartment. Seeing her leave made you feel like Frank Buck losing an argument. She walked with a nice, easy swing of a satisfied leopard, and for a small leopard, she had pretty good spots, too. I put the gun in my overcoat pocket, and I went down to Folsom Street. The address was down near the bridge entrance, and the street was deserted except for a couple of winos near the corner trying to buy back 1926 at $1 a jug. I stopped in front of the place. It was a machinery company. I could see a light burning in the back. I began to walk through the place. It was so quiet you could hear a worm with whooping cough, and there were enough shadows around to keep a ghost happy for years. When I got to the office back in the corner, through the glass, I could see a man sitting at the desk. When I opened the door and walked in, he didn't seem surprised.
Come on in, mister. The bet on noise.
Yeah?
That's right. You make too much for a thief and not enough for a customer. What do you want?
About 10 words if you're Dixie Gilian.
Go ahead.
You better look up a timetable.
What makes you that tough?
This.
Oh. Why, you look tougher with a gun. Does it make you talk faster?
I'm going to say it slow, mister. Pack up your rompers and get out.
Is that you talking or somebody else?
I'm just the guy with a gun. Adrian does the talking.
And he says get out.
That's right. You got the whole message now.
All right, you told me. So wander out and spend your dough.
I will.
You'll need part of it, though, because I'm going to give you an answer for Adrian. I'm going to take that gun away from you, mister. You can pick the pieces out of your head on the way home.
You better stand back or I'll share it with you.
You got your offer, mister. Let's see you make good.
Yeah. Save your muscle,
Drop
fella.
that gun, will you?
Save your
Drop
muscle,
that gun.
fella. The gun's empty.
Somebody fooled us, mister.
Sometimes you can get a home run with a half swing. That's the way it was this time. He couldn't have made it with a prayer book in both hands. He slid down to the floor and trembled for a moment and then flattened out like a leaf in a pool of water. Just before he died, he grabbed his side as if he didn't like the way it hurt. And then he didn't care. I rolled him on his back and let him look at the ceiling. His eyes were open and he looked surprised, like a guy who didn't figure on a change in the weather. There was a scar that ran across his forehead and dug deep into his hairline. And he was lying there with a bunch of pink gum showing as if he was trying to pick up a few bucks with a toothpaste ad. I didn't have time to tell him how sorry I was, because if homicide caught me here, I'd have about as much chance as a canary in a basement full of cats. I started for the door. Right then, I knew I could start ordering birdseed. It was Hellman. And he walked over to have a look at the body.
Hello, Novak. The guy looks embarrassed.
Yeah, I guess he is, Hellman.
What's he doing dead?
Putting in a beef somewhere, I guess. He rates it.
He'll like you for that, Novak. How did it happen?
A team play. We worked it out together.
But you've got the gun.
That's right. I got the gun.
You feel like a bet?
No. Just keep stealing the old way.
You know how I feel, Novak?
Yeah, you feel flabby to anybody else, but to yourself, I suppose you feel good. Now, look, I walked in here with a gun. There was some quick fight talk, and I killed him, but it's still not a good rap.
I can get a long price on it for you, Novak.
I'll bet you can, Hellman. You can give me a bad deal, but part of the time it'll be from the other side of the deck.
Worse than that, Novak. It'll be all the time, and I want to watch you because I think you're going to be a crybaby.
I'm going to scream, if that's what you mean, Hellman. I'm going to scream about a gal that sent me in here with an empty gun.
That's a big hole for a cap pistol, Novak.
I got a last-minute curve. It was empty once.
Yeah. That's the only way they make a gun, Novak. I don't want you for an hour ago. I want you for this dead guy on the floor.
All right. I told you I didn't come in here to kill the guy. I don't know him. He may even be a good guy. I'm sorry he's dead.
All right, Novak. Just wait a few weeks, and you can tell him personally.
Hellman had me up against the rail, and he knew it. When we left there, he was wearing a big, toothy smile. It was big enough to sew on his ears. He called the coroner, and he told him to pick up the stiff, and then we rode downtown. He dropped the gun into ballistics, and he hauled me into his office. The reporters were there. He gave them the whole story and told them how to spell Hellman. After that, we wound up at the desk, and he booked me on suspicion of murder. The next hour and a half was the kind of stuff they don't write about in the paper. They call it interrogation. And when you're finished, you've been through a lot of tight spots, like a piece of bubble gum in a set of false teeth. About 11 o'clock, Hellman brought me into his office, and from there on, it happened kind of fast.
I just talked to the DA. He's going to streamline things for you.
Well, he's going to look funny, going to trial on a guy you can't identify.
I won't press you. I don't have to, Novak. I've got the only parley I need. You, the dead guy, and a big, fat murder gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hellman talking. Yeah, I know it was a .38. That crazy down in ballistics, I saw him standing over the dead guy. Well, they must have made a mistake, that's all. No, I don't want him in here. I don't want him in here. Hey, Tony. Tony,
You're getting pale. You need some more rouge, Hellman.
I got some bad news, Inspector.
Well, keep it, or you'll take more home to your wife. I'll talk to you later.
No, talk to him now, Hellman. If the bullet doesn't match the gun, talk to him now.
That's right, Inspector. A .38 bullet, but it won't match the gun you brought in.
It's got a match. I came in and found him standing there. He admits it.
It's a neat trick, then. If he fired the bullet out of that gun, he retooled it in midair.
I'm not that fast, Hellman. Get out of that chair so you'll have room to squirm.
You keep still, Novak.
Oh, I won't bother you. I'm going home.
Huh?
I'm walking out of your jail, Hellman. You got a broken-down .38 that won't fit anything but your thumbs. You can't hold me on that.
I found you over the body. I can hold you on suspicion of murder.
But it'll hurt tomorrow morning, Hellman. The papers will be down here for a follow-up. And you'll have to tell them what it looks like out in left field.
I'll handle them.
You can't afford to let them start laughing at you. People will get the idea it's your face.
You can save car fare if you stay right here. Because I'll have you back by noon tomorrow.
You're not that good, Hellman. You couldn't hold a moth with a searchlight. The town ought to thank you.
Huh?
Oh, it's a nice jail, Hellman, and with you around, it'll last for years.
We'll return to Pat Novak in a moment. You're going to put extra warmth and comfort in your Christmas wishes this year. How do I know? Well, because I've seen the Gallon Camp Christmas gift slipper collection. You know, everybody's talking about it as the gayest, brightest idea on the gift shopping horizon. When you visit your neighborhood Gallon Camp store, well, then you'll know why. There you'll find slippers for every member of the family. Soft and cuddly warm ski capers for Sis, handsome embroidered Chinese slippers for Mom, warm shearling-lined opera slippers for Brother, and good-looking, smooth kid opera slippers for Dad's fireside loafing. Yes, and there are appealingly soft and gorgeously colored shearling scuffs to delight the heart of any young lady from 16 to 60, and slippers for the little nippers. All are irresistibly comfortable, good-looking, and irresistibly Gallon Camp price. Go to Gallon Camp's, the store with the yellow front near you, to buy Christmas gift slippers that'll say Merry Christmas in a heartwarming way. Give more smiles with a Gallon Camp slipper gift. And now back to Pat Novak.
When I walked out of headquarters, I had a nice mess to juggle. It was like trying to walk the baby on a floor full of marbles. If things didn't add up for Hellman, they weren't doing any better for me. I knew the gun I had went off. If it did, what happened to the bullet? And where did the other one come from? And why weren't there two shots? Oh, I couldn't put my finger on a thing, and nothing added up. It was like trying to follow a grain of rice in a Shanghai suburb. I looked up Lee Underwood's address, and I went by her apartment. The girl downstairs told me she worked at a nightclub out on the Bayshore Highway. Well, I had a couple of places to hit, so I looked up the only honest guy I know. An ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A good man until he began to figure the last drink in a bottle is just as easy to get as the first. Well, I found him in a little leather-trimmed sink on Powell Street. It was a grimy little hole where they washed the glasses once a week in stale beer, but Jocko was more at home than a vulture in Calcutta.
Patsy, you're just in time to celebrate my return to health. Something mild for Mr. Novak. A double stinger, perhaps.
No, forget it, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
Patsy, I've just passed through a crisis.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago, they set before me a glass with a woman's lipstick all around the rim.
All right, Jocko.
I took one gulp and looked at the glass, and in this dim light, I thought I was bleeding to death. It took them 10 minutes and 3 mirrors to calm me down.
Jocko, I'm in trouble. You got to help me.
No, but they washed the glass for me in ammonia. They must have left a little ammonia in the glass because the next drink had a very odd tang about it. I've had 3 more just like it, a sort of ammonia colony.
All right.
So far, they've been using domestic ammonia. When the imported stuff comes in, I may give up whiskey altogether.
Calm down, will you, Jocko? I got a bum shake tonight.
Yeah?
I either killed a guy or I thought I did.
Well, that uses up the alternatives. What are you doing now, taking a vote?
I got hired to scare a guy down on Folsom Street. 10 minutes later, the guy was dead.
Oh, Patsy, you take your work too seriously. Couldn't you have just scared him into a lingering illness instead of killing him?
One of the props was an empty gun. Only when the fight came, it drew bullets. Hellman walked in right after on a telephone tip.
Oh, what are you doing out of the electric chair?
Oh, the whole thing backfired down at headquarters. The bullet and the phony gun wouldn't match. Oh, Jocko, it doesn't add up. The call to Hellman's a tip-off. I was framed, but why wasn't I framed all the way?
Well, who is the dead man?
The guy with a falling blood count. His name was supposed to be Dixie Gilian, but there's no identification and no record on him.
Oh, you shouldn't have hired out as a gunsel.
I told you I didn't hire out as a gunsel. It was somebody else's idea.
Oh, you have no conscience, Patsy. Just a sort of soap opera rule of thumb you put into practice now and then, but no real conscience. You'd let a dying woman lie in the middle of the highway, unless her head was resting on a pile of war bonds.
All right, Jocko, I'll cry with you later. I need help now.
What sort of help?
I want you to break into a girl's apartment.
Yes?
Don't worry, she won't be home.
Oh, is that supposed to be an incentive?
Here, it's at this address up on O'Farrell. Her name is Lee Underwood. She's the one who hired me.
Well, if the girl's not there, what am I supposed to find?
Anything that'll connect her with the dead man. He's a big guy with a scar.
Well, that doesn't help much.
You can't miss. Go through the desk and the drawers. Pick up everything you can. Leave a message at my place, huh?
Well, as soon as I finish this drink.
Hurry up, will you, Jocko? Leave the glass alone and get going.
Don't rush me.
Hurry up. The glass is empty anyway.
Yeah, that's what you thought about the gun, but the fellow got an awful jolt out of it. Good night, lover.
I went by a horse parlor on O'Farrell Street and borrowed a car from a guy. It was after midnight when I started down the Bayshore Highway, and about a half hour later I pulled up in front of the Cat's Paw. It was a long, rambling place on the left side of the road. No, there was no plan. It just followed the erosion line until they ran out of material. There was enough neon in front to light a main intersection in heaven. I asked a 50-year-old busboy, and he said Lee Underwood was back in her dressing room getting ready for the 1 o'clock show. When I walked in, she was sitting in front of a mirror, working on an upswept hairdo. If she swept it up any more, it was going to leave her head. I stood behind her, looking at the pink, fresh part of her neck that didn't show when her hair was down.
You seem fascinated, Patsy.
No. I just want to know where to break it.
Oh? Sit down on the footstool here next to me. That's it. I like to look down on people. Here, let me brush that strand of hair back. Or do you like it in your eye?
Brush it back so I can see your answers. Who's Dixie Gilian?
What difference does it make?
None to him and some to me. He's dead.
No, he couldn't be dead.
He'd like to believe that, too. I couldn't sell him that story about an empty gun.
He couldn't have been killed with that gun.
No?
No, I put in a blank, Patsy.
Somebody used a hard-working bullet because Dixie's dead.
There was no reason to kill him. I don't understand.
That makes you even with homicide, but they got a bigger team.
I don't understand it, Patsy.
Who's Dixie Gilian?
He was after some microfilm. I thought I could scare him away.
You better be ready to identify him because homicide stopped. Even the scar didn't help.
What scar?
Scar across his face. There's no record on him.
Oh, no, Patsy. Everything goes wrong. Everything you touch goes wrong. That's the wrong man, Patsy.
Yeah. Well, it's too late for a recount.
You've got to get to that body, Patsy. I don't know how, but some way you've got to get to him.
You look good, Lee. You'll make a nice picture.
Wait a minute, Dixie.
You don't need your coat. Come on.
I don't know how it happened, Dixie. I didn't mean it that way.
If you like it that way, all right. Bring your boyfriend, too.
No, don't let him, Patsy.
Oh, that gun's too big. I'm going with him. It was a short trip. He led us out of the dressing room and down a thin hall to the back door. On the way past the kitchen, you could smell onions and used grease, and that's all you noticed, except the sound of a jukebox somewhere out in front, and someone laughing in a loud, mirthless way. When we got to the door, it was raining outside. We walked about 40 feet, over near some trees, where the dark was working overtime, and the gunsel made her stop. And that's where it happened. He's going to get wet, mister.
You'll have a little trouble yourself.
When I woke up, it was still raining, and I was lying on top of the mud like a stubborn seed. My wallet was gone, and the gunsel had ripped open my pockets. I stood up, and I walked over for a last look at Lee. The rain had washed the makeup off her face, and she looked small and tired as she lay there, like a broken doll that had been tossed out in the rain. I guess she was. I got to the car, and I drove back to town. I checked my place, but there was no word from Jocko, so I went up to Lee's apartment. When I opened the door, the room was dark, but I knew someone was on the floor. Either that or they'd varnished the floor with bourbon. I flipped on the light and bent over Jocko. Wake up, Jocko. Come on. All right, Jocko, wake up.
Oh, a little ammonia. I think, would bring me around.
What happened?
I was sacked, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's got the same act tonight.
Help me up.
All right, come on.
Where have you been?
I went down to meet the girl.
Huh? Where'd you meet her? In the swimming pool?
I've been in the rain all night. She's going to stay longer. What'd you find out?
The fellow with the scar is her husband.
Yeah?
There's a picture in the desk.
Are there any more pictures?
Oh, a few. Take a look.
Where, in here?
Yes.
Well.
Who is he?
Must be Dixie Gilian. He was down to pay off a debt tonight. She called him Dixie once.
There's a note with that name and address in the other drawer.
He's our boy. We better get up there.
Not if he's already killed 2 other people.
We can't wait for Hellman. If he gets away, I'm all through. I won't have a leg to stand on.
That's my point. When the other fellow gets through with us, we won't have much standing to do.
I felt better now. Gillian was the only guy left in the picture, so I dragged Jocko up to his place. It was an apartment on Post Street. The elevator operator took us to the 8th floor and said that Gillian had come in a few minutes before. There was no answer, so we tried the door and it was open. Jocko didn't like the idea.
Oh, Patsy, this is folly. Risking my life is one of the bravest things you do.
Keep still, Jocko. What are we supposed to do? The door was open, wasn't it?
So are a lot of graves, but I've never been tempted.
Hey, look at the furniture. There's been a fight here. I'll look in here. You check in the bedroom.
If I'm not right back, don't expect me at all.
Yeah.
Patsy, come here.
Yeah?
There's somebody on the fire escape.
Stand back here.
He's not moving. He was leaning that way when I first saw him.
I'll get on this side. You raise the window. Go easy, Jocko. Can you see him from there?
Raise it a little more.
Yeah.
He's still leaning there. I can reach out.
Now watch yourself. If he's kidding, you'll lose an arm.
I've got him. Raise the window more.
Yeah.
Oh, Patsy, he's falling. Give me a hand.
Oh, here, let me through there.
Oh, it's too late. I can't hold him. He's falling. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He was probably dead anyway.
If he wasn't, that was a step in the right direction.
Oh, it was an easy night to die. 3 of them had checked out already, and there was still time to look for more. Jocko and I went downstairs to see the guy. He was lying face down in the alley, and as you looked at him, you got the funny feeling he belonged there. He didn't disturb the scene. He just fitted in, like a dirty, wet newspaper under a grandstand. There was a gun in his pocket, probably the same one that killed the girl, but there was no way of knowing. Jocko and I watched him for a moment, but your eyes begin to hurt when you see your only warm lead in a deep freeze. Well, it was past 2 when I got down to headquarters, and I looked up Hellman. I briefed him on the girl and the guy in the alley, and then I asked him if any microfilm had turned up on the first guy in the morgue. It was a waste of time. Hellman couldn't find a brass ring in a dead man's nose, but we went over to the morgue for another look. So far, it was working out like a crossword puzzle torn in half.
It's your time, Novak. I got more after tomorrow. You haven't.
The microfilm must be on the guy. 3 people have been killed for it, and I got roughed up just for laughs.
We searched the guy once. Here it is. Help me roll it out.
Yeah. Well. He sure got thin under that sheet, didn't he?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you run a good morgue, Hellman. What'll the papers say when they hear the stiff got up and walked out?
They got him in the wrong place or something. He didn't walk out.
He's gone, Hellman. Have you got an answer?
He's been moved, I tell you. The guy was dead, and I saw him put him here. He couldn't be walking around with a hole in the middle of his back.
Oh, I don't know, Hellman. You can do it with one in your head. Don't sell the guy short.
We'll return to Pat Novak in a moment.
Cinderella lost a shoe and so she got a mate. With lovely shoes a girl can't lose. In Gallon can't you wait?
What girl hasn't dreamed Cinderella dreams of her own and wished for a fairy godmother to make those dreams come true? Here's what the newest Cinderella, Marilyn Buford, Miss America, says.
The modern girl doesn't waste time dreaming. She makes her dreams come true, and she needs no fairy godmother to give her lovely shoes. She doesn't, that is, if she has discovered my favorite shoe store, Gallon Camp.
Yes, Marilyn, for gracefully lovely shoes, flattering and in the latest fashions, wise girls go to Gallon Camps. Gallon Camps are shoe-style leaders.
And so amazingly priced, a girl can afford to have all the shoes she needs.
And here's extra good news of a special Thanksgiving shoe sale. Yes, prices are actually going down on many of the up-to-the-minute shoe styles tomorrow at Gallon Camps. So shop this sale at the Gallon Camp store near you tomorrow to step assured into the exciting holiday activities ahead. Look lovely in Gallon Camps.
Cinderella lost a shoe and so she got a mate. With lovely shoes a girl can't lose. In Gallon Camp you wait.
And now back to Pat Novak.
When Hellman found out the body was gone, he stood there and stared at the empty slab. And then he started looking around in a nervous way, like a man trying to find the sugar bowl at a restaurant counter. A few moments later, he turned and walked out of the morgue, and we were halfway downtown when it happened. It must have hit us at the same time, sharp and quick, like a piece of candy in a bad tooth. That guy back in the alley had come off that slab in the morgue. We got out to Dixie's place, and we began to check. There was a phone operator downstairs, and she said Dixie had put through a call about 2 hours ago. Hellman checked the number, and it was the ticket office of a railroad. We got downtown, and we ran through the timetable. There was a train leaving the Oakland Mole in 40 minutes. Oh, it was an outside chance, but tonight that was the only kind for sale. We got down in time to slide on the last ferry over to the Mole. It was still dark out when the ferry pulled away from the slip and started across the bay. Over toward the Berkeley Hills, it was beginning to get light. The sky was the color of a bruise spot on a man's arm.
We'll get up to the pilot house and tell him not to dock until we've gone through all the passengers.
He doesn't have to be in on this one.
He'll check the train when he gets there.
Wait a minute. You don't have to check. There's your boy.
Where?
Up there. On the rail. Now, you better go easy. He's not a scale model.
Just walk quietly until we're behind him.
Yeah.
Turn around, mister. You'll get a better view.
Oh. Hello, Novak. How was the wind and the rain in your hair?
Meet Inspector Hellman. You better turn in your ticket.
Well, I hope you brought your muscle.
Grab it, Hellman.
That's what I'm trying to do. All right, copper. What's it? I'm being pushed over the rail.
Yeah, I'm worried, Hellman.
What's it, Novak? I'm going over. Novak! That's one down, mister. Now for you.
Yeah. Well, I landed on the deck, and I watched him disappear in the dark. Halfway down, the guy turned in. I followed him down the ladder and along the main deck. He ducked into one of the engine spaces, and I started in to look for him. Oh, it didn't take long, because he turned out to be helpful.
You got the idea yet, Novak?
I'll come closer. Tell me then, huh?
Suit yourself, but I'll knock you down hard when you show.
Hey, watch that platform. You're backing into trouble.
Stay back there, Novak.
Watch out for that platform. You're backing into that engine. Look out.
No! No! Oh! Kind kind of wound up last, huh?
Yeah. That's the way it looks. Did you get the microfilm?
Yeah. Oh, I got a big hurt. Does it show?
A little.
Yeah. It's been a long night, Novak, huh?
Yeah. But your worries are over. It's almost dawn.
I don't know. I don't know if I can use it, but I'll give it to you.
Well, they fished Hellman out of an oil slick a few minutes later. It was the first time his hair ever looked good. Dixie Gilian lasted long enough to piece the story together for homicide. Lee Underwood was on the level. She knew her husband was carrying microfilm and was worried, so she hired me to scare off Gilian. It might have worked, too, because Adrian was too big for Gilian to argue with. But the first slip came when Lee's husband went by to make a deal with Dixie without telling her. Well, when I jumped him, Dixie was outside and figured it was a double cross. He didn't have time to figure it, but he killed him with a silencer when Lee's phony gun went off. Well, he spent the rest of the time looking for the microfilm. That's why Jocko got sapped and the girl got hers. And by that time, Dixie knew the microfilm was still on the dead man. The only way he could be sure was to get the body out of the morgue. He took it up to his apartment, and when he got the film, he planted the gun and put the body on the fire escape. It was safer that way. There was a 50-50 chance the police would miss it the first time around, and he'd have a fair lead. It almost worked out for him, except for that phone call. The microfilm? Well, it was in a capsule next to the roof of the guy's mouth. Yeah, so old it was new again. Well, Hellman asked only one question. In that fight, did I have anything to do with pushing him against the rail? I told him. Sometimes those ferry boats roll as much as 45 degrees.
Be sure to join us next Sunday evening and every Sunday, same time, same station, for radio's newest show, Pat Novak for Hire. And don't forget, the store with the yellow front is the Gallencamp Shoe Store. Gallencamp shoes are good shoes. There's something about them you'll like. Franklin Evans speaking. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.